goes down. You pick the start for it, and Bind is first, followed by Ascent and Haven. Kokuka, guide me through the bans.
Okay. So Navi has banned first. That means that Big decided for them to be the team A, but they were not stupid enough to ban Breeze. So we're like, yeah, we're actually going to remove the Fracture completely because of what you did against Guild. And Big is the one, deciding to ban that Breeze. They're still not feeling comfortable in there, so they do not want to see it. Bind is the one that Navi took from Mech, and I think that Zeddy has his best performance there. So I'm really liking that ground. Lovely to see Ascent, but I am worried because that means that Big picked Ascent.
I really don't understand that.
I'm going to assume means that Navi is going to start on the defense.
That is exactly it.
That is exactly it, and unfortunately for Big, that doesn't bode well because Navi so far this year has 9 wins, 2 losses on Ascent. They have a lot of reps. Maybe that's the reason why Big is choosing the map to counter-strat them. And we didn't see Big yet play on Ascent this season, so this is going to be the first time we're going to see their lineup as well on this patch. But putting your opponent that has a good performance on their map, essentially, when you pick into them, means that they're going to start also on that defender-based map side, and that will put them into a very peculiar spot. But first, let's dive into Bind.
Bind. This is a map that Big hasn't played since the promotion tournament, I believe. And especially with this lineup, we still haven't seen the changes that they're bringing in. As I said, Navi played it last week against Mech, and it was a brilliant performance. I do not know of many players that can diff onto Shadows and Red God the way that Zeddy was doing on that map. So really looking forward to what are the new things that Big are going to bring, and maybe Navi stumble against a wall picking this map.
That's a nice lineup, by the way. 2 Razors and 2 Vipers would be pretty nice. But Big typically played with Brimstone and Viper combo to have better understanding of map control on attack, but it seems like we have major swaps for Big. Only Brimstone.
Musashi's in Chamber. That is something that I like.
There's the Musashi on Chamber, which that's something that we were hoping for, but also Fade and Sky together. And this is something that we rarely see. Typically, so far we have seen Fade with Sova in many regions being combined because it's such a powerful tool when it comes to taking vision. But now with Sky, those 2 agents have really cool synergy when it comes to taking space through the teleports with the Prowler, with the Tiger, with the flashes from Sky as well. So there can be some really nice set plays that I can hope for Big here.
Yeah, and it's not only that, Big moving away from that double controller and actually, focusing, as you said, on the initiation, the power that it can give you. I'm really looking forward. I'm happy that Big saw the same as we did regarding the Chamber. Love to see Musashi there. And I think it's very similar to the composition that we saw from Mech. So we'll see how that goes for Navi.
All right, our game is ready to go. So thank you so much, Kokuka and Lothar. Let's see if Tom has survived from yesterday. You got mission, Tom, to guide you through it. Enjoy.
Certainly a long day for you yesterday, Tom. I hope you're ready to go, energized up as we dive back into some beautiful Valorant action. 2 very young teams fighting for survival here. What are you expecting to see out of them?
I think it's going to be an absolute brawl. Last time they played, there was an 18-16 map in there. So you know what, Mitch? We better get things rolling because it could be for a long series.
And the battleground is set. Bind is where we're going to kick things off. Moving on to Ascent, and then, if needed, our decider is Haven. Big on the defensive side here, Tom. Are we expecting to see big numbers put up by them?
Nice. I'd expect them to do better on this defensive side. I think mainly because I think Navi normally seem to struggle a little bit more on their attacks. Like they did fantastically well on the defense versus Mech. I think it was basically a defender-sided series all the way through. So I think picking this one, there might be a few struggles here and there, especially because you're going to rely quite heavily on Cloud getting you those openers. Sure, opportunities here for SSK, but a lot of his kit doesn't really work as well on the attack.
certainly going to be some issues there. I mean, you're able to at least get that one trap down most rounds that's going to cover the flank. You're seeing it there on the attack side already, and this is going to give them a lot more versatility. These players can decide to swing things back and look to take things towards either side, giving up a lot of control or catch their flank as they play. For now, they're spreading the net, playing it nice and slow, leaving the spike down behind, and eventually, after literally no contact, I mean, a super passive round out of Big, they're going to decide to group up here and push in towards the site where Musashi was waiting, but he's not able to land any of those headhunter shots.
Yeah, this is a map where compositionally I'm liking what I'm seeing from the side of Big. It excites me at least, but it hasn't started off strong. Already losing their first man. This battle in towards the showers is actually going to be very important, and it's going to be won by Aslan. It means he can keep that little bit of extra control, and that's something that we'll have to be worried about for Na'Vi.
Spike planted.
Oh, popping in that bit of utility cloud.
Watching.
Able to destroy it though just in time. Looker's going to wait to reveal that back up again. Hold up for his teammates to take some of these fights, but Dunno goes right in, trying to take this duel. The flash is good, but no kill to follow. Cloud, though, cleaning house. God, they spotted him earlier on, and, well, he's just not being afraid to take a fight from this position. Looker can't even manage to root him out. Eventually, though, he'll find an angle, but Cloud is the one to find this shot. 4 kills to open this up, and that's a strong statement for a Raze, especially on a map like Bind.
Yeah, it's always good to say that they're going to have a reliance on someone, and then that guy gets 4 kills in the first round. It's helpful. It's definitely going to work out nicely for them going forward. And as said, like I think that Cloud, this is one of the times where he's a little bit freer in his role. Like you can expect to see him maybe later in the series on the likes of a KO, a Sova, especially when it comes to Ascent. So realistically, this is his time to be that little bit more aggressive. The fact, though, that we've got Musashi back on the chamber has me very excited. I don't know if this was the plan, because obviously we haven't seen their buying composition prior, but like realistically, it could also be because of his fracture performance. Like in comparison to what we'd seen from the likes of Obnox, he was by far the best chamber they had. And thinking back to the previous iteration of Big, I always enjoyed Obnox the most on Sky. So other than maybe Lucker, who again, we're still sort of learning that little bit extra about Fade, I feel like there's a lot of comfort picks here for Big.
I do really like this round out of SSK. Playing just with the Headhunter, this is a huge economy builder for him. 1,800 left in the tank. Could lead to an early operator to play with, or even just help their economy out in other sectors. The minute left, no presence being made really out of Navi. They peak on mid, and that's about it. But that's enough for Big to sit down on the A site. Stay content with the 5-man stack they've got. And by the looks of it, Navi are going to run into this. Still, they've got that teleporter if they do feel overwhelmed at any point. I think of being patient. Now they're going to blitz.
Well, it's unfortunate. You see the Haunt basically garner a hell of a lot of information, but just the weaponry's not there to really deal with it. Let him get the kill. That'll be a showstopper already online for the next round, which would be ridiculous for them to come through with. Twisted, he's actually going to survive in this corner. He's just hoping that someone makes the mistake. Honestly, if I'm on the other side, Cloud, just drop over that rifle and then run in with your pistol and try and finish this off.
Here we go. In Cloud goes, and he's fallen. The kill landed by Twistin, at least going to give them something to write home about. But as we said, you know, SSK, he saved the round. He plays it with a Headhunter. He's able to retrieve the rifle. Everything's good. Everything's happy. I mean, that's just a perfect round out of them. Really doesn't get much better than this, and especially because they ran into a 5-man stack. That's the thing, right? This wasn't an easy push. This was really the worst case scenario for Navi early round, and they've gotten out of it smelling like roses. SSK is playing with a shorty. I don't like that, but he has got the Headhunter in back pocket to play this bonus strong.
Of playing with a shorty. Like
huge economy.
It's like he actually picked it up and dropped his frenzy, so clearly something to just play in the afterplods, be a little bit ratty with. The one thing I will say that worries me a bit about this series is the fact that for Big...
Oh!
Okay, that's a nice start. What I was going to say is that Big have basically gone into the 2 favorite maps of Navi. Like, you've got Bind and Ascent as the first 2. Like, if I was going to, like, based off just pure statistics, this should be a Navi 2-0. Like, just based on how strong they are on this map. One of the weaknesses this team has is that their map pool isn't that strong. The issue is the maps that they're not strong on, one Fracture was banned and the other Breeze Big also don't like. So it's ended up quite nicely for Navi on their stronger maps. Now, Twistin, he got that early frag, Mitch, but considering this is a somewhat bonus round, that trade is pretty decent.
Yeah, 1-to-1s are fantastic in a round like this, and being on the attack side, able to group up and take another fight just like that later on. They've dodged the flash. At least I think. I didn't hear Obnox make a comment. And now as the players start to close up, Looker thinks that this is clear. He thinks that he can just back up and give this control away, and the utility coming through. Obnox is going to be blinded. They can't do anything about this. The reveal going through. Looker able to catch one. Obnox with a double. That is fantastic. Huge control, and Looker even following up onto Zeddy. I love the fact that not only did he use the Hunt when they pushed into the site, you saw that caught them off guard. It led to a couple of kills, but then that C's thrown down to catch the player, do that extra bit of damage to Zeddy and make the last kill a whole bunch easier. That was a great display of the Neon's utility belt out of Looker.
Yeah, that's the thing. I definitely think that he is someone that could make this agent work incredibly well. Like, where we saw it out of the likes of Oglu yesterday, just a fantastic performance coming out of Destrian just across the different initiators. And if he can do that here, it's an agent that definitely can set them up quite nicely, because on the other side, you are back to, well, I guess the only real difference to some of the more standardized comps is the fact that you're still running an Omen on this map, and also the Chamber, which is not that surprising to be brought in with how strong it is in the current patch. Nonetheless, still a buy here, Mitch, so it's not like it's a problem for Navi. And actually, Cloud already has an operator.
We've heard many times about how Navi can play these slower rounds with the operator. It's even more so, but this position out of Musashi, it's unexpected. Very rarely do you see a player up there, and the Chamber giving him the versatility that he wanted. SSK caught by the Boombot. He's out of there. They've retrieved the off as well. So they're able to reset a little bit into this late round, but this has been extremely costly already. Losing Cloud, losing that operator, and now obviously they still have it.
Out of charges.
But the question remains what exactly they want to do with it. Now juggling it into the spawn, into safety. He's brought it all the way to the other side of the map.
Information found. That's the thing. They don't actually have to rotate anybody off
30 seconds left.
from this B site. 3 players here for the defense. Okay, the Prowler is actually going to catch anyone. It will. So they know that they're still lurking around this angle. The sneak coming through. Obnox still has a little bit of utility, and they're just waiting on this cross. The second there's contact, now he can flash, although it has completely blinded Looker. Obnox has decided he's going to play this one himself, and even the time he's bought has made this one impossible.
That was really smart. The communication between Looker and Obnox there was actually on point. For a second, it looks like Obnox is kind of screwing Looker over, but you notice he threw down, like immediately he was throwing down the Haunt. The idea there being they're flashed. They can't spot the Haunt, can they? So the Haunt's going to reveal them. They're blinded. That's about as easy as a kill gets. I mean, you can't kill a guy that you can see through a wall and they can't see a thing. Well, we got some problems, and that leads to the free kill for Obnox over an elbow, and the round secured. Navi's slow rounds, something that we typically can write home about on this attacking side. They pull out an op, a lot of dangers, and not able to deliver anything, really. That was a very well-controlled round for Big. But Tom, here's the challenge. They come into this now. Navi have got a showstopper to play with, and with Cloud having a judge, I think they're going to look to use it.
Goes straight through, just going to take the space. Doesn't even really need to use his ultimate in this scenario, just because he's got Lamp's control pretty much locked down. It's more going to be on the rest of the team to try and just get into an afterplant, because if he can section this off, that's huge. Instead, he's just going to use it for space. Doesn't even matter if he gets a kill in this scenario. It's just to deny anybody from getting towards the plant.
And this is effectively a full buy. Now he's the player holding down control of Lamps with a judge. You know, that's a pretty strong spot to play from. They had the paranoia and the wall to get in there. Everything about that was perfectly played. Now we got to see what's in Big's tool house to deal with it. And Seekers and Nade, and they're challenging for control, using utility to keep him out while they fight for the site itself. Trading out, that Stings J gone huge. Viper utility now no longer there to play with, and a bunch of kills follow up. Cloud, the last alive, and that judge, well, that's how you deal with it. Don't fight it inside of Lamps. Make him come to you. That's a round for Big, and a very nicely handled retake.
Yeah, they clear everything effectively. I also think just like a slight whiff coming out of SSK as he gets out of the smoke, like not really able to correct his aim in time, even though the players on the other side were blinded. And Navi, okay, we've only really seen like a couple of proper buy rounds from them. But it is starting to look a little bit shaky, and this is the thing that both them and Mech had problems with last week, is just the attack sides. They just weren't up to scratch, didn't have a lot of creative ideas, and if anything, even some of the defensive rounds, they had to go for some pretty hard retake on this map in particular. So I want to see what they've got. I want to see what sort of ideas are actually there for NAVI, because, as said, like, the attacks have been a bit bland.
And I think we can see the ideas here from Big with this fade. Right away at the start of this round, the Haunt is used. And I'm a big fan of using Haunt right at the start. You might as well. 45-second refresh on it, unless you're expecting some sort of an exec out of Viper and stuff. But a lot of rounds, you want to be putting that out.
Against
and the
NAVI,
information here
round.
right away.
They're the slowest team in the world.
Exactly.
They ain't
that's
executed
very
until like
contextual
10. You could probably throw it out a couple of times.
3 times around, yeah. You got plenty of time. But yeah, it gives them the early information. Then they're using up their Prowlers as well. We've just seen one go through on Hookah. He still has one left in the tank as well for now. That one's actually gone out as well. So doubling up the Prowlers. That's because they've got a 3-man stack on B side. So they want to be sure that these players are out there. Another piece of information utility. It's a Sky Flash going out on B long. I mean, these guys are able to constantly cycle information on this B side. Now here comes a Trailblazer. I mean, it is endless. And they've seen no one on B long. Constant utility on mid has seen nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got a Haunt to throw back up. And now they know that Musashi's in a great position. He's going to stay tucked in. They throw that nade to fake it out so that they have absolutely no idea. Musashi only gets one, obviously getting revealed like that by the Seekers. Unlucky that they use that piece of utility, but Big still have the advantage now.
Yeah, time is ticking. You can already see the swing coming through. Decent trade. Musashi, though, just holding on to this ground. And already you can see the orbital strike making this one nigh on impossible. Swing onto the spike. Nobody watching to hold on to it. And that's almost too easy for Big in the end. And like, the thing is, they can almost opt to do a lot of this stuff just because of the position that Musashi was actually holding. If no one takes mid, if no one forces them off this angle until the very end, well, as you said, they don't need to save utility for mid or for bathrooms or for anything else because they have a dude sitting there. So they just use it elsewhere. They save it and use it to see if there's anyone else pushing on the other side of the map. This has always been that sort of curse for NAVI is, well, not even a curse, their own fault. You play this slow every round, a team can just start abusing it.
Definitely the right call by NAVI to take this time out. I think that they've come in with the game plan, but Big's constant cycle of information-based utility, they are controlling this way too much for NAVI's style, which is slow, which relies on map control, punishing your aggression, which Big have no need to do because, well, they've got Musashi playing aggressive, but how do you deal with a chamber like that? You know, that's not exactly an easy piece. And other than that, there's no need because they've got their Haunt, their Prowlers, their Sky Flashes that are, again, a lot of that utility refreshes itself, right? It's not just, oh, I have 2 flashes. No, well, you have more over the round. And if you cycle those correctly, you can constantly be clearing B just like we saw. And then when NAVI do eventually, with 50, 40 seconds left, decide on what site they're going towards, you know what site they're going towards. You can stack it. So now they've got no time and they run into a stack. It's about as bad as it can go. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a W strat out of them now.
Yeah, the problem is when you're doing that in eco rounds, like the chances are you're not going to win it. And well, already Musashi now has that operator in hand. This was one of the reasons he was so devastating in that match of Fracture, was just so how good he was with this weapon. Now again, this space has been taken, but they're holding on towards that Lamps control. Dinks has been able to find one, but the molly from Aslan is going to make sure that he can't get close. And well, or he can try. He's getting burnt up a little bit. Even still, though, not a great spot for NAVI.
I'll heal up there as well. Make things get a little bit healthier. Here comes the Prowler, the swing. Dinks J able to trade out at least one, but can't catch Aslan, who's snuck away yet again. No utility left on himself, but a showstopper in the hands of Twistin. Ready to strike on these players when they go for the plant, and they know it. Dinks J's going back to try deal with the flank that he suspects is coming through, but you can't quite find him. And so we run this clock down. NAVI happy to play slow rounds in a default. Well, in a 2v3 even more so. But eventually, they need someone on Big to make a mistake. And that just doesn't seem to be happening for now.
I wonder if they might have to just take a dive through the TP. Never mind. Spike going to be down. Op still watching this angle, and far. Even the swing ready. Nice little setup from Big in the end. And yeah, Na'Vi. Okay, the pace chain worked a little bit. The problem is they're losing Cloud early in every single one of these rounds. And that's the thing. It's if you look at a lot of the entries, he's fine. Okay, the round when Musashi was pushed up mid, that was just because it was a late take and he was a little unlucky. This time, it's like he's making a solo play in towards the showers. I want to see more setup for this guy because that's the thing. He is normally this sort of this Sova, this KO, like almost doing that job for his team, or even just having the utility to do it himself. Here, if he's just going to have to keep taking raw fights, they're not going to win this map.
I'll find you.
Again, going to see the same haunt thrown over, but they're pressuring him right away, looking to push the Looker out of hookah. They've certainly done that successfully. Prowler used up just to confirm they're still close, and, well, for Big, this is going to be a little bit of a problem. They've been forced into using this utility very early. They fought for B-long control. They get an orb out of it, but no full... I'm not even sure they got the orb. Aslan had one last time, and I think Obnox already had Seekers, but I could be wrong on that. Either way, fact is they've been pushed out of the control they like. Their utility isn't going to be online for a while. They're going to have to play reactive on this one, which it certainly hasn't been the comfort zone. A lot of times, Big have been creating their own space, and we'll see how they deal with kind of being starved out a little bit.
Still, utility being expended, and they're just sat towards the back of the site. Nobody giving these fights over to the duelist of Na'Vi, and because of that, once again, we have this same sort of pushback with Bathroom's control already completely taken over by Big. Okay, a lot of the pressure's going to come in onto Twiston, but I think if you're on the Big side of things, there's no one else you'd rather have.
30 seconds left.
Well, here comes the TP for Info. Zeddy clearing it out. This is going to be tough now, dealing with this showstopper. It's fired off a little early. Trying to take the kill, but they haven't found it. And up goes Cloud, but right into the hands of a shorty. Nasty play, disgusting stuff. And while the value is there, even going to be a Viper's Pit used up, committed, and burnt away for nothing. Another near flawless round for Big. And you know what? It doesn't even cost them that much. They end up investing a little bit, but when you compare what was invested on Navi's side, especially that Viper's Pit, and the fact that it was their buy round, now leaving them on an eco, that was a huge value round for them.
Why do I feel like this is just going to be both teams winning each other's maps on the defense?
Oh, don't say that.
It just feels like that's already coming. Like, Na'Vi, since the rounds where Cloud killed everyone, have done absolutely nothing. They've attempted to try and like work the picks in a lot of these rounds, and there you go. They actually managed to bait one out from Musashi. So SSK, his tour de force, has at least got them an opener here for the first time. The problem is the rest of the weaponry is so weak.
Well, Twiston seems to be directly behind these people. SSK still has his trap, hasn't put it down, and, well, this is going to be costly. I think this might be the first round he hasn't put it down, or near to that.
Spike down.
That's about as easy as they come. Twiston's able to take 3, nice and clean, spike down, and no chance for this eco round out of Navi. I understand not putting the trap, though, in this round. You're better off just not investing into it, right? Keeping it over for the next. But when there is that little bit of utility there and you're going to full stack one side of the map, it's not that expensive.
I would agree with you if he hadn't invested into a tour de force. Because what's the point? Like, you've basically... you've spent 0. So, like, what? Like, look how much credits he has left.
At this stage of the game, 6-2 down, you can't make a mistake like that. You just can't. That tells me, you know, you're losing focus if that's happening. If a gap like that for a man to just slow push all the way behind, take 3.
Look how much Cloud is, like, literally he's having to jump over Molotovs just to try and get them space. Like, it just doesn't seem like there's any setups at the moment, which is terrifying. Like, you've got the flashes, okay, you've got the screen. They've managed to take this control quite regularly. This is something that has at least worked out for Na'Vi. But just look at where Big already are. They're ready and waiting. They've got the Nightfall ready. They almost have themselves a showstopper as well. And you can see they're trying to bait them in. Just the second a swing comes out, 2 players already dead, not giving any openers over to Na'Vi. And this round is already looking over. They can't even hear anything.
and nobody's able to play together now. They're so worried about Twistin coming behind because he broke the trap earlier on that Dunno can't even, you know, flash for his teammates most. Hell, he just burned a flash up behind. He's like, where is this flanker? Where's the guy that broke the trap? And, well, he's on A site. He's rotated all the way back around. It's a brainy play out of Twist, and it gives them a much better chance at closing this one out. You can see how, if Dunno had caught him on the flank and killed him, and now they had flashes to play in what would have been a 3v3 on site, completely different game unfolds. But now, Twistin, well, he gets this 1v1 from a different angle. No, not the shorty again! Get out of here, man! 8-2, what a clean round. This is some cerebral play from Big, and to be honest, this is what I was hoping for all along.
Yeah, I will say that, like, firstly, that defensive setup was really nice. They almost baited them in to go, okay, you can have that for free. Like, we're ready to play the retake. We have the ultimates that are needed. Like, they know throwing in the Nightfall is going to make things very, very easy. And then it just happened that Na'Vi, they knew that ultimately they had to try and find some sort of pick. The problem is, again, a lot of the peaks that Na'Vi are trying to win in these battles are just individual plays. Like, you're hoping the Cloud can find you an opener. You're hoping SSK can find you an opener. The only utility that's really being used is like, okay, there's a pop flash and the Tiger, so that we know there's no one close. Other than that... Oh! What? Other than that, you're hoping for things like this.
That sure is something. Now pushed up close, SSK is able to follow through. Got his TP to back on out to his anchor, and... Well... Oh, Aslan. Oh, he's going to try and make a play. Sneak up behind him. He's got the off angle, and... Well, that's certainly a surprise for SSK. Numbers not quite equalized. With Navi having weaker weapons, though, there's certainly a good chance in these fights for Big to still recover it. We need to see a hero step up on Navi. That nade good. Showstopper coming through to finish off Dinks J. Viper utility down, and that's certainly going to be a problem.
Oh no, he doesn't even get to shoot. Aslan is just hitting every head put in front of him, and Twisted still predicts the lurk play. You can get 2 opening kills and still not get a single one since. Big looking regimented and Na'Vi looking scrappy.
Yeah, most definitely. This attack side has had a lot of flaws in it so far, and I think things are running deeper than just the approach to the rounds. You know, considering this is the pick of Navi, it is perplexing to see this level of play. And I don't think that we can just look at it as an underperformance from Navi, though. I think that's drastically unfair for a team that's performed on this map so well. Even think about that game versus Mech.
Yeah,
right?
on defense.
13-4.
Come on, it was defense.
That's it. Next half could be better, but still, this is not what I expect to see out of them. That said, Big have played unbelievable.
Yeah, I think the only player who's really had any impact since like round 2 has been Dinks. He's found them a couple of kills here and there in terms of opening on a Viper, which is definitely not a good sign when you have one duelist and one quasi-duelist. It's been a rough performance from them, and they've been shut down all over the shop. Twistin still feeling confident, trying to battle things back, but not overfacing, not overdoing it. They still have utility in order to try and slow things down. Another man who's been phenomenal has been Aslan. The amount of high-impact plays he's had on a good old Brimmy has been impressive, and it's actually one of the reasons, like, when he used to play the Duelist a little bit, I was like, I don't see the point. Like, he doesn't need the Duelist kit to frag.
I've got your trail.
Here come the Seekers. Aslan still got the molly, though. That's huge time delay to show. Whoa! Cloud's right in! I mean, with no support as well, because they're blocked off from Orbital Strike and molly. That is a brave play to make. Bunch of players, though, able to take the fight as they come blitzing on through, trying to retake control, and Big end up paying a huge price for it. Another overextension here, or extension at least. Someone needed to try to make a play, but with Twistin down, Navi might be able to get a plant now, and well, they've only one player to deal with.
Lucky needs to pull off some sort of miracle, and Zeddy is there waiting for him. Navi will at least get themselves back to 3. It still seems more of a blip on the radar of what was an impressive half from Big. And as I said, it's those lackluster attacks. It just seems to be the problem with both the CIS teams within this tournament at the moment. It's just the attacking sides don't exist. We'll see, though. Now Navi move on to the defense, something as said, they were incredibly impressive on last week when they played versus Mech. 9 rounds for them as well. So maybe there'll be a repeat, but I'm feeling myself and definitely Mitch are much more hopeful in the big attack.
Yeah. Look, realistically, the NAVI defense has been the strong suit in the past when we've seen them, but 9-3 down, they're going to need to pull something big out of the bag to make this happen. And with Twisted 17-4, Aslan 12-3, there's a whole nother level of play on this attack side now, and initiating a lot of damage onto NAVI. That'll be healed back up though. At the end of the world.
Prowler going to be utilized. Rotation already in with 3 players currently within the site. And just try and clear some of the angles again. An important battle for the bathrooms, and this time it's Lucka to actually take it home. It means there'll be no flank coming from that direction. Instead, Aslan actually playing within his smoke. Risky. It seems like he's waiting for a flash. Oh, it's not pretty. Cloud actually ends up being the one to get the kill. The pistol god comes back to save his teammate.
That was an awkward fight, my god. 3 players up close. They really want to take control of Lamps, but Navi might have to go back to the drawing board, fighting from another direction, trying to split it up. But Obnox and Musashi, they step it up big time now against them. Navi need to get on the spike. They've tapped it now to draw them into the open, but Big come up ahead in those fights, and Dunno, he's got no time. Somehow he's gotten that kill, but yeah, round's still going to be secured for Big, and well, that's a little bit of a disaster. Navi, they kind of needed that one.
Oh, they really needed that one. The solid start in this half was a necessity, and instead it's just the fragging power that's currently there on the big side. Twisting up there, 18-4, Aslan 12-4, Musashi still chugging along, and well, I don't think there needs to be too many more fraggers for you to be able to win a game. On the other side as well, Eddie and Duno have been having an incredibly rough time. But I don't think that's been the be-all and end-all. It's that attacking side was rough, and now trying to turn the tide is going to be difficult. Investing a little bit into the pistols, but ultimately they know that the next round is where they have to start their comeback.
Okay, info. 2 players at least off Big are coming towards this site from long. SSK managing to find himself a kill up close. Dunno gets exactly the same. This is looking fantastic. Headhunter on SSK. Now ready to look for a few more victims, but they find nothing. Wow. Oh well, there was some hope there for a moment, but that came to a quick end.
Yeah, just getting shredded by the SMGs. They're even going to have the information of where Cloud is, so the element of surprise is gone completely. Fagged for a second, it looked like they were even going to go and challenge him, but maybe not the best decision in the world. Just going to sit within the smoke, but actually Cloud lands the shot. Caught in the seas, so he can't actually go anywhere. Just has to try and maneuver around this circle, but he's found himself a gun to play with.
Perhaps an opportunity. At least to find some extra damage on the way out. They're lined up, though, at absolute firing squad. 11-3. Big just steaming into the lead, and sure, you can look at it in a positive light, and the Navi can probably invest here, but well, this is the line in the sand. It's got to be flawless from this point forward. 10 in a row.
Yeah, like all in all, that round wasn't bad for them. Like being able to drop it down to just a couple of players remaining. The problem is just how far down they are. Like if this was the first half, we'd be saying, oh, okay, decent job, but there's very little to write home about. You're also going to see Big actually invest into this round. So because they lost so many players, they're going to buy back up with rifles. So it's going to be nowhere near as easy as the third round would normally be for the team with the rifles on hand. And well, when you have those SMGs on a map like Bind, it's not that much of a detriment if you can close down the distance. Either way, Cloud seems like he's already been caught off. They know the rough position, and Musashi just trying to take a little bit of extra control. Of course, Rendezvous online. He can escape the second contact is made, and gotta be a little bit careful about some of the utility that's already down. The thing is, though, he's able to just lurk behind it, and I don't know, the space that he's taken could definitely catch out a player if they're not too careful. Tiger through for Obnox, but it's going to get shut down before too much is revealed. Twiston now looking to be that point of contact, and already Musashi has found that opener. Zeddy still in spot and Cloud still lurking around the backlines, but ultimately this is going to cause an afterplant to come through.
30
Managed to
seconds
bait
left.
out the nade and what was a paranoia alongside it, but I'm more worried about this aggressive spot from Twiston. He's going to swing back out, but actually gets nothing. Zeddy has taken the pick instead, leaving this now to just a couple of players and 15 seconds left. Musashi trying his best, but they need to get this plant in, and the remaining two have already rotated in. The flash is good, but it's not even needed. Aslan's going to ruin both the remaining players, and Big are now on map point.
Altogether, a fantastic result for them, really, if they take this win. Like we said, coming into today, it's NAVI that really have the pressure on their backs. If these guys aren't able to step up and perform and take it across the line, I really start to see some big issues for them moving forward, because they've already had their easy games, essentially. This is where things get tough.
You want to play? Let's play.
I think Na'Vi in full survival mode. I will say, going into Ascent, I am banking on my prediction in the early rounds happening. Both teams are going to win their opponent's map choice just because they start on defense. That's you've heard it here first. It's that's my prediction for Na'Vi, and it wouldn't be that surprising at all. I'm pretty sure, in fact, they won Bind last time versus Mech, and it was Mech's choice, and they lost Ascent, which was their choice. So it would be the most Na'Vi thing to do. That's still going to be an investment here, but you've got multiple judges. You got yourself an SMG and some of the weaker rifles to play with. It's not a pretty picture for Big in this scenario. And for now, at least, they are going to start gambling back the rotation in towards A. A slight missed call, but I think that's almost just a reliance on Dinks. The amount of value you can see a team almost find just off a judge in this sort of position. Lucka does have a little bit of utility remaining, but no Prowlers. They would have been ideal.
30 seconds
Oh yeah,
left.
huge, just for grabbing that little bit of extra info and closing in the site. But now you're maybe going in a little bit blind. On coming through. Oh, Dinks J. He's got the kill, but they've lost the site. Zeddy going down. That's a disaster now. They need someone else to come through, and Dunno, well, he wastes no time in getting in there.
10 seconds
Spectre
left.
in hand, close range fights. 8 seconds left for the plant to go down. Good damage already, and they'll finish him off. Just about holding on here, Navi.
Of course, they managed to win it with the weaker weapons. At least giving themselves a lifeline. And actually, the economy on the other side from Big's a little bit interesting. I don't even know if this is going to be worth going for necessarily. Like, you're seeing Obnox put a little bit into this round, but the weapons just consistently being changed just to try and work out what would actually be worth buying into this one. Because you've got such a mammoth lead here, Mitch, that realistically you don't have to take a massive risk.
Yeah, you wouldn't imagine so. I think this is somewhere you play tight. You just don't even bother using those ultimates in a round like this. Don't invest too much in whoops. Twiston's gone down. I would say normally you want to take those fights in numbers, right? But I can see the idea behind some of these players going out and looking for duels. But yeah, Navi should clean this one up, and all the trouble starts to brew in the next round, and the one after that. And the one after that.
And so on and so on. The 8 more times. Yeah, I think the terrifying prospect as well is next round you just look at the ults available. Nice shot from Cloud. The aim's definitely still there, and that is always going to be the thing. When one of these players is posted up, we know that Na'Vi can pop off. We know that they can find those multi-frags similarly to their big brother Mech, but for now at least, well, they're actually going to be able to they're just denying the plant with blast packs. It's just a little bit of irritation. Lucka will take one. Actually, Aslan again, his aim has just been so crisp in this matchup, hoping to maybe hit a lucky shot, but Zeddy is there to make sure the round is converted. 5 for Na'Vi. Still 7 in a row needed, but hey, they're making those first steps.
Slow and steady, Tom. That's the way to play it. Oh my God. Well, yeah, really slow and steady here from Big. They're calling a timeout. Sitting with this kind of advantage, that ain't something you're going to see every single day, but whether it's a strategy of making Navi sit in it, or to be honest, more likely they're sitting here realizing that they got to put in the time here and now. Got to make sure they don't let this slip because, look, the reality is, Tom, we have seen comebacks like this in the past. It has happened. And it's the most devastating thing if you let it.
Especially if you were, say, a Lucka fan. It would be utterly devastating.
It would, wouldn't it?
But, no, I was going to say there's not many of those, but I can't. I like him too much. Like, I want to be mean to you, not to him, so.
As a savage. Wow.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I think realistically, you know, if you're big at the moment, this timeout isn't going to be somewhere that you are actually sweating. You're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I think coming out of this, we might have some nasty strategies. This could be them sitting back and figuring out where they want to do something, maybe a seize nade or something on the back of an orbital strike with a seize or some of this utility. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, it's the ults. The ults are just devastating at this stage. Like, if you're going to throw in a Seeker's Orbital Strike, you can have the Nightfall as well, which is just going to give so much information all at once and leave basic players stunned, blinded, and in a horrible position. And straight away, they're actually going to pop it early. Doesn't really seem to be much of a push on this, though. It's looked like it was almost just utilized for information and to try and pull rotations. In fact, they've left Cloud as the solo defender, and this has backfired. He's managed to find that opener. The rotation's already coming back through, and that space has not been garnered yet.
Operator's still around here, but won't really find a free angle. Oh, nice little delay. Nade through as well. They're burning the clock down. The rotations are through now. And Zeddy's even thinking about going for the peak. He's gone straight out, caught twisting. The showstopper from Cloud. This keeps Big back for just a moment, and it's allowed even more of a setup to come into play. NAVI have got more than enough rifles here to take these fights, but somehow that position goes unchecked.
Even still, miracles needed. Both players coming in from showers, control as well. It's unlikely that they'll be given the space again. Okay, one slip up to let a player go down, but with 25 seconds on the clock, you're hoping for a massive slip up from NAVI if you get anything here.
And that's certainly not coming through with that last smoke coming down. Deals the round. You can see they are willing to play the long game. Bigger acknowledging that the attack side here could last a little longer than you would want or than you'd expect. Already 6 rounds on the board, 6 more to go for NAVI, doubling up their scoreline. Big task, but they're on the right path. Operator for Cloud has been doing some work in the early rounds, and I think you could see more aggression out of him here, but at the same time, like, look at what Big are working with. They're going for a half buy on this, keeping money for next round.
It's sort of keeping it. I still don't think it's going to be the greatest of purchases. Like, you're looking at Lucka down to 950. Like, he's going to need a kill or two to get up to a decent financial spot. The thing that, like, I don't mind the attempt in the last round of selling that fake, but with sending no one in towards the B site at all, where off the back of the Nightfall, you basically just use that ultimate to try and pull rotations. And if NAVI had rotated everybody there, I would have think they lost the plot. Like, there was no real execution. And sure, players are sort of left deafened, so there's an aspect of, okay, we're going to fall back and they're probably going to push off of it, but I don't think Big need to do anything particularly complicated here. I think just falling back into a full-on execute with the ults they had probably would have done the job. And instead now, well, we're all peeking off the back of a one-way. That's a tough fight to win.
Yeah, not one you're likely to come out on top in.
Right here.
Seen V pump the brakes. Cloud's got so much control for them up outside of Bath, holding with the op. They're happy to stack up B or gamble that if they come A, Cloud's going to be able to get enough value. This is perfect for them with Big setting their sights on the B side. Musashi looking for a pick on A. A fight's about to come through, and it's Musashi to win it. That makes a little bit of a problem for NAVI, but now they've spotted the spike, so not so much. Big fight out of Aslan. He's recovered the spike. Or has he? It's still at his feet. It's...
That was weird.
That was strange.
Hold up charges.
With 15 seconds left, prepping the orbital strike. Because I don't know where you were hoping that was going to go. Like, just, I'll use the force and work out where he's currently sitting. Like, yeah, they did a little bit of damage. Again, the ultimates are getting back up, but more worryingly, 4 in a row now for Na'Vi. As said, we know how devastating this defensive side be. It's pushing into basically just ridiculous aimers, reliance on Cloud as a solo hold, and then the rest can sort of stack up on the other side of the map. The more confident they get, the more terrifying this is going to be, and I almost want to see just a faster setup, a more aggressive 5-man take coming out from Big, because right now, trying to pull rotations, trying to work the entries hasn't worked.
Okay, the sprays through are messy, and they take down Dinksjay. In some ways, that could be a worthwhile trade. I mean, it's a tough player to take down. A Viper's Pit out of the round. They need to recover on it. Looker does well to find one. The trades are there, thick and fast. Na'Vi well and truly ahead. Damage done to SSK and Dunno, but even the heals are coming through, mitigating some of that. Oh, that was a risk. SSK's got the info, though, and they're going to swing him. All 3 now coming in. Big flash, and, well, the swing's a little off on the timing, but flash saves the day. 12-8. You know, there was a point definitely where this was looking done and dusted, but like we said, this is why Big called that pause. It's easy to close this out, but it's possible to let it slip, and now just 4 rounds behind. We're starting to see that is a real possibility.
If they lose from 12-3, I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna have to video myself just laughing and tweet it as Zesht. Like that would just be my whole thing. Maybe we should all do that as a collective.
Sounds like a great idea, Tom.
Just watch the man break.
Or Zesht.
Oh god,
What's
they
he ever
gave him
done to you?
hope. That's what they're doing. They're giving him the most hope.
This is a big misread. Somehow Twistin was able to get all the way up close to Lambs. He was walking out. He saw 2 players completely unaware of his existence.
Let's play.
Showstopper coming through now, looking for a victim on the back of the site. He spotted one, and that's a clean kill. Cloud down. Numbers now looking truly in favor of Big. And you've had a tour de force come through from Musashi as well. This is not only a dangerous round, this could be the end.
It almost should be at this point. Twistin, that one explosive round that they needed, but Musashi now falls. It seems like they're... Oh, it looked like for a second they had an idea that Lucker was within this smoke. He's still playing with absolutely nothing. Timing could be everything. He's going to get one. The other player's reloading, but Duno could just about correct in time. Seekers now utilized. Aslan's position revealed. They should know where he is, and it's left all onto one. SSK to try and clutch it. An insane shot to bring it back to a close scenario, but the time is ticking. The Tiger utilized, and he's just going to try and get on that defuse, try and get it to half, and he'll land the shot. The question is, does he have enough time? It's going to be incredibly close. I'm not sure he's got it. Just about there.
Out of charges.
Holding on by a thread. 0.53 of a second. And Navi secure their 6th round in a row. This comeback has been phenomenal. And now they are just 3 behind as a pause comes through. I think that might be Navi's pause. I certainly need one after that myself. Oh, wow. We'll see in a second. There you go. Navi's timeout, and Big. Well, they're going to get a chance to discuss how they want to close this out, but it doesn't look like they have much of a say in things right now. This has been strong. Still, it comes down to clutches, Tom, and with 2 buy rounds before we end up at overtime, that needs to be improved on for Navi. They can't rely on clutches.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I feel like, again, like when you're this far up, I just love it when a team just goes, okay, let's do just a cheesy ult round. The problem is, Big have come so close in multiple rounds that they're actually using their ultimates at different times. So you never really have that stack up to try and get stuff done. And I think it's actually biting them in the back that we haven't really seen that proper build up yet. So, okay, again, you're going to have Nightfall. Again, you're going to have Seekers. Beautiful combination to basically clear out an entire site with information. The issue, though, is that it seems like every single time it's being utilized. Okay, we're trying to fake this out. We're trying to clear this position. And there hasn't really been that same sort of follow-up. And is this going to be the ratty little hide behind the screen play? I think it might be.
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to get contact either way. direction.
There.
Leaning pretty hard towards this A site out of Big. That's where Cloud's still posted with this operator, and I think it's just going to be a waiting game until someone decides to swing into him. For Musashi's sake, I hope it's a shoulder peek. Here comes the util out of Bath. Pushing the back, one way smokes through. Means Cloud can still safely sit up here and wait for that peek to come in, and there it is.
I've got your trail.
And now comes the ults through. Seekers will double it up, as said. So much information. Cloud's actually dropped one with the nade, though. And Dinks, he can't see anything, but he still manages to find a kill. Eventually, they're going to go for the plant. And again, it's denied. Cloud is doing this so regularly, but they managed to bring it back into a 3v3.
Spike planted.
Another chance, perhaps. Holding on hope.
Shadows traveling.
Here they go. Smoke is down for now, but it looks like Aslan wants to step on through it. The defuse tapped. Aslan needs to check no one's actually defusing that. There's confirmation. Halfway now as he dives on in. Zeni, good to get the kill. Another! This is looking good. Look, who's gonna clutch it out. The shot's not gonna land. It's halfway and it goes out for 4. Closing it 13-9. A little closer than it was looking like it would be, Tom, but they certainly got there in the end.
Damn, I'm sweating for them at this stage. Like, what's happening? Well, clearly, Mitch, man, that's actually what he looks like right now.
That's
after
right now.
It almost slipped away from Big. It was that little bit too close for comfort for the German side, but they do get it over the line. Nonetheless, we're going to move away from this picture, and we're going to let the analysts break that one down.
And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and MBs, to the desk where Big have indeed crossed the line. They've actually taken the map. I know it took us ages to figure
They crossed the line by winning a map.
Honestly,
Oh.
we were all like holding it. Oh my God, is this going to happen? Is the comeback actually going to happen? But at the end, Navi ran out of steam, Kaguka.
So the thing is, I'm happy that Big took this win. I am not happy in the fashion in which they did it, because I feel like they came in here today. Navi peaks the bind, and you need to make a statement. That statement cannot be from a 12-3 to a 13-9. So I think that Big is having the same issue of how to close the maps. But also, if we think about Navi, they probably chose this map again for the defense. It's something that Tom said, and then we've all said about Navi. And probably looking into the next map is going to be very important for them. But if we talk about that first half, Big was literally looking like they were playing deathmatch. Every single shot was going forward. We saw a little bit of microplays, and we especially saw Navi taking the pistol round, the next one, and then the last round of the half.
Yeah, in general, this game from Big was a great example of how to counter-strat an opponent that is so easy to read as Navi. It's just like an open book. You literally know what they will do every round, and Big was just waiting for Navi to make a move which won't happen for 1 minute and 20 seconds, and then they just kill them when they actually go on site. And we have been talking about that in the pre-show. We have been talking about that 2 weeks ago when I was on the desk, and also in the previous season. So nothing changed for Navi, but Big, I feel like once they go onto the attack side, they lose this side of the macro, which is the main objective, because they're overthinking stuff. They're just like, oh, we're gonna fake out Navi here, and then we're gonna go to the other side, and we're gonna be very cheeky with our utility, and that doesn't do it much because Navi is also holding exactly like Big was holding on defense.
I mean, I like the defense mostly because even when Navi started to be a little bit faster, Big looked like they were prepared for that. But to me, there were so many unnecessary mistakes and risks taken by Big that sometimes you don't understand, especially on the defense. Against a team like Navi, you don't even need to look for the 5v4 at the beginning of the round, because it's not like they're going to rush onto you. And if that were to happen, it's going to be a set play, and it's easier for you to react onto that. But we'll see about Ascent. What is it?
It's funny that you mentioned mistakes, because when Big lost the only one round that Navi had a full buy, was the last one on defense, it was because Musashi just pushed short into a default setup, something that Navi does every single round, and Musashi died twice in the first as a first death. Once on B-Long, when he just decided to not TP out as a chamber when he was holding an off angle, and the second one when he pushed short. Some simple mistakes that also just cost him the round, but not the entire match.
Well, player to highlight for this is Twistin. So what were his numbers, and what can we do beyond just the numbers themselves?
I mean, it's not only that he's the young gun, he's performed actually in race. We saw at the beginning of the game that it was Cloud with that 4K, you know, opening things up, but Twistin actually stepped up a lot during the attack. So
You mean Twistin?
Twistin, my favorite duelist.
Twistin is actually one of those guys that knows how to also play the environment around him, which is very nice to see, because you can see the abuse of the shorty in the lamps area, which is so effective. Even when he has a Phantom or a Vandal, he swaps to the shorty because he knows that is just much more effective in that range. It's also a great combo with, well, the race, right? You have satchels for the movement, and you have your own paint shells to give chip damage, so the shorty has a higher chance of killing people.
Paging Dr. Lothar over to the lab.
I have one clip. It's a very short one. It's actually something that I painted before. Big overthinking of how to attack on bind. It's a round where Big wants to go for a fade utility push on B side and fake the push with the ultimate. But the thing is that they used really a lot of utility before, so we've seen Lucker with no prowess use the ultimate on the B side, which explain why it will make this fake not work. You can see here both players are affected by the ultimate, right? Both players are now standing on the side. They have the trails on them, but unfortunately, there's not a single prowler that can affect those players that are now being under the spell of Nightfall. And the problem is, if you don't do that, those players on site, they can still see what is happening under this ultimate. And because no one is breaking the line of sight here, through this, when the smokes are, no one will rotate essentially because there's no one on site. And the fake is also, because of that, very slow on the execution, because there's only Musashi going through short, and he's just not even like checking any angles, he just goes in because he's the actual execute in this round. So Big is like trying to make a plan on how to fake a site and then go to the other one, but unfortunately only one player is the actual execute, while 4 players are lurking on B side and are late to the actual execute. So the macro objective from Big here was just all over the place.
And even if it was an execute, there was always the chance that Chamber was going to be on a flank, and Cloud is going to be with the operator, the one in charge to lock in that side, and for that not to happen.
Wow, some things to take away from this map then. Despite Big being victorious, it almost swapped the other way. But moving on to our second map, Ascent is up next, and this is one of the parts where Kukuka, you were talking in the map bans, like, oh, this is gonna be the outplay, big win for B team pick. How does it go through here?
So the thing is, now that Big has chosen this map, Navi is going to start on the defense. We saw what they can do in bind. We've seen them before on this map, so I expect something brilliant coming in from them. In my eyes, this is Big actually looking for some revenge, because the last time that they played this map, it was against Navi and they lost. So maybe they're like, we are literally counter-striding you. I want to see how, the feeling is also in the teams, because as I said, not closing the first one decisively when it was needed is not giving you the kind of momentum that you need for map 2.
Mm-hmm. And on Ascent, we didn't see yet Big on this patch, so I would assume there will going to be some changes. They seem to like Fade. Most likely we're going to see again her being used on this map. Yep. I mean, there's Fade is on Ascent is actually very strong, so I would anticipate that being a pick. But in general, like they are picking the map. That opponent is playing so well overall. It's the best map from NAVI, right? So this is a big task ahead of Big, and I'm probably gonna say the same as Tom. This is gonna be a map going for NAVI.
Yeah, probably. I can already see ourselves going on to Haven. One thing, one player that I'm really looking at is Aslan, not only because he's probably going to be taking that controller and probably moving away from that Astra. He was legit diffing on everyone on bind. I mean, playing from the controller, sometimes you don't see them, especially from a Brimstone, you're not going to see that bigger of an impact, but every single bullet that he shot was a headshot. It was amazing.
Well,
select. It's almost ready. So Lothar, please, could you guide us through it?
And one thing before we
Go ahead.
agent selects, I would just really like to see a little bit more min-maxing being done by both teams, because there were 2 rounds where both chambers on Bind didn't buy traps even though they had the resources, the credits to buy them. And 1 round, Twiston just got a free kill, by the way, on Long because of that. So Big wasn't punished by it, but let's hope that the min-maxing on this map is going to be looking a little bit better. Let's take a look at Big's composition. So they go for the Killjoy. They played Cypher last time they played on Ascent, so that's already a change. KO is still being used by them, still Sova as well, Jet and Omen. So actually no Fade from Big, interesting.
It's a mirror match.
It's a mirror, yeah.
It's not only that, I think that the only one that is going to be staying in the agent that he was playing previously is Twiston, because Opnox was the one going on the KO before, but now that Lucker has come in, maybe he doesn't want to go in this way. He feels like he can do more from that KO, and maybe we were kind of expecting more chamber from Musashi, but you know, we got our dose for now. Let's see what happens in Haven if we get to see that map. But I think I'm liking this. I like the mirror. It's kind of going back a little bit, but
It's an interesting approach to the game when you have a mirror composition like this, because Killjoy loses value when you play against a mirror composition in this case, because both KO and Sova have utility at their disposal that is capable of destroying the lockdown from almost every single angle if you have lineups, and that's something that I would predict will, you know, both teams will have in their disposal. And because of that, it seems like, okay, so we play that Killjoy, so what do we do now when the opponents have so much counterplay towards our main Sentinel, right?
yeah, and for Big, let's watch out for those fakes that we're trying to execute onto Bind. Is something that they have tried in the past also in other maps, so Navi needs to buy them for them to actually work.
With a mirror agent select now, is there a higher chance of us going to Haven in this case?
Oh, it's
or...
Navi starting on the defense. Like, the
Yeah,
rest, it
that's
doesn't matter. I
true.
mean, I want to see the preparation, because let's not forget that even though this is Navi's home ground and whatever, it was Big who chose to come here. So let's see about that one.
Easiest round for Big is gonna be, and most important at the same time, is gonna be the pistol round on attack, because I don't predict that they're gonna have a high win rate on full buy rounds, and pistol round is the one where they can abuse the small amount of utility from the defense. So this first opening will be setting a pace for the entire map.
Well, our game is ready, so let's hop into Ascent. Our casters will take us through it. Mitch, Tom, all yours.
Thank you so much, folks. Well, it turns out, Tom, we're riding on into Ascent with Big leading 1-0. I am shocked, to say the least, with how flat Navi were to start off map number 1, but they certainly bounced back. Do you think they've got the steam behind them now?
Oh, they're on
to take
defense.
across the
What do you
line?
mean? Of course they do. They start on the side of the map that they're actually good at playing. So, yeah, not too worried. I'm also going to be interested to see Musashi, because I'm sure there's a very specific man who may correct me if I'm wrong. Won't name him. He's had enough limelight for today. But I don't think Musashi has ever played Killjoy competitively before. So it's going to be interesting, because we've known him for much more of like duelist play. Like, you look at his most played agents, just like Jet and Reyna. So I'm excited to see how he's sort of expanded his pool a little bit more and brought that Sentinel in, because it's very different from a chamber.
Well, Tom, this game's so exciting. I'm taking the head out of a fishbowl for it. Let's get this one rolling. As Big lifts in towards the A site, we've got quite a lot of presence on short, and SSK's realizing that he's going to give it up, start falling back, and leaves Eddie to pop that paranoia. He's not able to take a favorable fight, and now the smoke is his only solace. These players all around him.
Down A.
Kill. Hateful. Has to try to fight forward, the reload off, and he'll get the kill. Almost another. I don't know how Zeddy is holding on. This man deserves a medal for the hold that he's putting on. Now the harasser from Wine as the rest of his team look to deal with these low HP players.
Yeah, they're going to need to take some pretty nasty angles to actually have a shot at winning this, and Cloud is more than prepared, leaving it down to the man on his first attempt on this agent. I don't know if it's going to make too much of a difference, especially in the shorty. Well, if they peek him close, maybe has a chance, but Cloud is not going to give him that opportunity. It will be Navi to take the pistol. Lothar is now sad.
Well, with Navi taking the pistol, at least the defensive side is off to the predicted solid start. I have to say, Zeddy, if he can keep up that kind of pace, his paranoia was fantastic, and he didn't really follow up on it. found the value elsewhere. Unfortunate for Looker, right? I see that right-click flash actually caught him and it didn't even catch Zeddy. Not as bad as it gets. Yeah, not a pretty fight. Not a pretty fight.
Right here.
Well, I don't think they're going to mind too much. Not a massive investment. Obviously, you can kind of put the extra finances in of managing to get the spike down, but nothing much more than that. In fact, Twister's just gone sat in the smoke. He's like, okay, if you want to play around smokes, I'll try and fight you at your own game. Musashi on the other side, he's done a lot of damage. Cloud is only on 11 HP, a bullet not too far away. Now, if you've ever watched an SSK defense, surprisingly, it's probably more aggressive than his offense. So he's just going to be taking map control. Was doing something very similar on the chamber on the few rounds that we witnessed in the last. Got to be careful with though. Musashi, okay, he may not have the headhunter, but he is still hunting heads.
Somehow an 11 HP player here of Cloud is a serious threat for anybody that comes up on the other side. The man has in his hand a shorty. And he's about to be pushed by Twist. And no, never mind. Zeddy steps in before that can even become a possibility. The numbers are all of a sudden equalized.
Yeah, much more of an opportunity here for Big than you might normally expect in this sort of round. The problem is they're going to be pushing into a Dinks J setup, which
30 seconds
if you
left.
enjoyed watching Hype yesterday, you're going to see something similar here. Like, he is someone that's very, very difficult and experienced when it comes to this Agent Port. Laka, though, is actually going to manage to get another kill onto Duno. This is already, again, far more costly than it ever should have been. Dinks has had to completely abandon the site, which means they will actually get a plant in here. They've also managed to, well, they had reclaimed one of the weapons, but that now goes to the wayside.
And look at the HP on Looker and Musashi. This should be so easy for Navi on the way back in, but they can just drop Cloud at least. Kill off a few more players, and it's already been a fantastic round.
Last player standing.
Good damage. Oh, great damage. Look at that across the board. 2 players sub 20.
Yeah, the problem is, all in all, okay, you have to rebuy some shields, but it doesn't matter. Like, keeping the 3 players alive is the most important thing for Navi. And yeah, this round was definitely too close for comfort, but ultimately, you're now going to see that purchase in from Big. And this is still just going to be played as a bonus with, yeah, probably a few extra bits and pieces added in for the players that didn't have anything.
Placing sentry.
See, Looker just one away from his ultimate.
Placing swarm grenade.
And I mean, it's probably not the best one to have, but you'll certainly take it. The opportunity is presenting itself. Early fight towards main. They want to take some control outside of B, and SSK pushed all the way up. He got spotted, but he'll fall back, and this does present a problem for Big, right? They've got to clear out these corners. They're clearing out B main again. They can't really take this hate push unless they find a kill. Now a serious chance. Zeddy again has to be this pillar for the team if they decide to go forward, but they've pumped the brakes again. Big aren't looking to rush in blind.
Especially now they've taken
No
down
charges left.
the KJ setup. They can look to try and reposition elsewhere, especially the battle onto short has a lot less risk, and knowing that they're going to have themselves the null command to just remove any remaining utility that would be available. It's not going to be easy. SSK, though, this is the thing. He's just so aggressive when it comes to these defensive rounds. Duno's found one through the smoke. He's actually done damage to a second as well. As a bonus round goes, okay, they've hit the minimum. Let's see what else they can
Spike
get.
planted.
I'm starting to check.
Enemy remaining.
There you go, Musashi. SSK. Don't know how he's around it. I mean, he's going to try to bait them out into a fight, but he'll have a tough time doing that. But when he does, Musashi's catching him unaware. 2-1.
No, Musashi's got off to a decent start. Like, he's playing much more of a hard lurk than he would have done necessarily before, but I guess it's just having to be that little bit more careful. You can't play those same aggressive angles he was doing because you don't have the get out of jail free card with the rendezvous. So just being a bit more patient, coming in for the late rotations. Now again, this is where things actually get interesting. You've got the purchase coming in on either side. Ult-wise, though, it's only really leaning in one direction. You've got the null command available. You could potentially get yourself the lockdown as well. And with the amount of space they've already taken to be main, it's looking like a real possibility.
Yeah, it certainly is. Good control here for Big, and look at Twistin. Oh, I thought he was going to start swinging out towards the site and make some really risky plays, but they're going to wait until this ult comes through. Utility cancelled. Lockdown in play. This is, at least in theory, the site control for them. They're still going to get past these players who will look to spam through that smoke, pop some utility, really slow these guys down, and Aslan's managed to TP through, gain a little bit of control, and at least get them across to the site. It's a foothold for Big. It's still a big task. And look, with Obnox in this corner, if he's able to get value, great. But they're pincering him. They're clearing him. Oh, he's been spotted now.
Wow! How did he get Duno? He's split between two different people. That's actually the better of the two, because Zeddy already tagged low, and now Musashi, the deeper lurk. You thought that was the lurk. There's a lurk on the lurk, and Aslan is actually just buying extra time. They still don't know that this is here. Zeddy spotting it out. Musashi, he just domes two in a matter of seconds and leaves it all onto Cloud. He's now going to finally try and clear this man, looking to try and pull off the 1 versus 3, but there's just no time, and even locking them in doesn't do too much. It's 2-2. Big managed to stabilize in what was a 4v5.
Impressive stuff, and really seeing them hold on to control like that. Look, despite the fact that Zeddy was low, when they spot out Obnox in mid and have two players swinging them, I don't expect him to get a damn thing done, and it was a bare minimum for him to get that damage in. I think that overall now, these pistols coming out for NAVI, Big have a huge opportunity here to at least level the playing field when it comes to those ultimates that are going to be online for NAVI very soon, and Big need to get that get a couple of theirs charged up coming into this round.
Yeah, the thing is, like, at least in a lot of the rounds, we haven't seen a massive challenge for the ultimate orbs on the defensive side, so Big are almost able to just farm up their ults much faster. Already into the site, they forced off the aggressor, which was SSK, who does just about manage to get out of there, but now going into a retake, it just seems nigh on impossible. And instead, it looks like they're just going to battle to try and get rid of the people on the extremity.
Oh, well, that battle has been very successful for Big, taking down Dinkshay, and Zeddy Duno comes through and gets caught as well. And absolutely no one is going to be falling on Big's side. This is a flawless round. The ultimate of the Blade Storm built up, and nothing else comes into fruition for them this round, which, to be honest, could be a little bit of a problem when you look at Navi's side. They are, well, anything can be online for them this round. It depends how they want to allocate orbs or take some of these early duels.
This step fake was brilliant. He puts down the alarm bot, runs away, and then obviously the player on the other side was like, well, okay, he's not there anymore, and Aslan's just like, hello. 3-2. Big looking good on this attack side. They've nullified any of the aggression that teams normally struggle with this NAVI squad. Once again, we're going to see this aggressive push. You can see they're using this utility cycle very early just to clear some of these positions. Eddie's already dead.
Oh, come on. How's he still going? Obnox falling there as well? That's absolutely ridiculous.
That's the most SSK thing you're ever going to see is his teammate dies in mid trying to TP away, and he's like, don't worry, bro. I'll take two and still get out.
Get out with 17 HP, and he's set back up in market to take a further fight. You know what? With it being SSK,
he'll get a third.
I almost believe he's going to win this. Yeah, I can almost feel it coming. Well, here's a challenge for him. Oh, no! He's got 4. That's just insane. Hasn't even needed to use his dash. He's got it online for the ace, and, well, Musashi's not going to give it to him. He's running away. This is just insane. What a round from SSK.
Oh, he's gonna go for it. There's no doubt. If he didn't, I'd be disappointed. It wouldn't be SSK if he wasn't planning on somehow taking this fight. Musashi, though, almost seems content to just sit back and try and take some of the weaponry away. Finances are not in a bad spot for Big. They managed to streak 3 rounds in a row, and well, it's almost just the patience here on the other side. Cloud taking a bit of damage. It's a couple of low players now, and actually he'll get 2. That's not bad. A decent spray down, and okay, sure, ultimately that round was just SSK, but I think Na'Vi will take it.
Yeah, you're not going to be complaining about that one now, are you? Absolutely insane. Watching it back a second time, just it makes even less sense almost. Well, I think there's a good chance Navi fight for mid control here. I don't know why. I just have a feeling, Tom. They might like that
B
position.
main. He's pushing B main. You can see this
We're
guy
switching it up.
Zeddy is still gonna go for this smoke, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, he genuinely is more aggressive on the defense than the offense, and he hasn't even got an operator into hand yet, which could change it completely. Oh, this is so much damage. A chance for a couple of kills. Actually gets nothing. It's dodged out in the end. Zeddy, this.
So, yeah, that's a free kill. And he's TP'd out.
He was
Nice
in
and free.
David
That
P.
mid aggression. Absolutely nuts. Getting that kind of mid aggression out. Now for Navi. They can be content to play this retake. They've got plenty of utility. No SSK, but still a lockdown to play with. It's going to come through, but Obnox can obviously cause a little bit of trouble here. Having himself that Hunter's Fury. They can't rely on the lockdown, and well, they can't even use it now.
Oh yeah, that's a big problem. That was something that they were actually setting up for. Zeddy, though, still going to get entry. In fact, so is Cloud. It's falling apart. Lucky with a nice shot, but it's left onto Obnox. Hunter's Fury not really going to settle it. He's just going to try and take the fights instead. And well, 4K from SSK, 4K from Zeddy. It seems like the push mid strat is definitely working out for Na'Vi.
Yeah, it's been looking pretty decent for them thus far. Last round SSK, this round Zeddy, and well, as we move on, I wonder who's taking the next one.
Who's pushing mid this round? Come on.
Zeddy's been he's been loving it, man. Being able to teleport in towards B Link and play from around there, late shift down through mid. I think that's a pretty large oversight by Big, giving that much control for free. They've got 4 ultimates to play with here. On the attacking side, no Hunter's Fury.
As Aslan's bought an op to try and kill him. Oh, that's funny. I like that.
Interesting approach.
It's just almost like they keep pushing mid. I'm going to hold mid on Omen with an op.
See them try to push mid now. Good luck.
This is definitely, it's not expected. That's the thing. There's no way anybody on the Na'Vi side could be expecting this weapon to be in play. Like, on the other side, you've got Twiston, your duelist, who's currently playing with the Marshal. Now, I would assume he's popped the Bladestorm. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they were on either side. Oh, oh.
Oh, that... You've actually had a player already sneak through. Dino knows it, but on his way back through, he's going to be caught by the reveal. Hunter's Fury coming in. Final pulse of it here, and no victims found, but still. Time and space bought, plant in, and Big now have the advantage. 5 versus 3. Navi to fight back in, and everybody's coming from spawn. And worse than that, Musashi's lurking through mid very late. Even they're checking it, and they just missed him. And now he's got about as perfect timing as he possibly could to close this round out if his teammates don't do it first.
If they are going for anything here, it's incredibly late. Time is already very far ticked, and instead it looks like they're just trying to get some exits, but instead they're being locked in. They're being pincered, surrounded by the remaining players on Big. Wonderful way to play in the afterplant, knowing the round's already done, making sure that Na'Vi have no weaponry to escape with. And financially, that's gonna leave them in a bit of a rough spot. Bear in mind, okay, they used the Bladestorm in the last round, but it's still not pretty.
Right here.
5 seconds left. We're going to see Navi. When you look towards this B side, it's not the strongest
Standing ahead.
early. I think it can still go off in from B main. From spawn side. You're going to see the attempt here. SSK already down, but the hold from Dinks J is what really matters. He's got the head peek angle. A great first shot onto Musashi, but that's where it ends.
There's a solo defender. Twistin, well, the trades are coming through, but ultimately for Big, that's enough. Seems like he's actually going to double back and reposition. Spike yet to be planted, and then you can see on the other side, Lucker's just trying to spot where this man is coming from. With Aslan still on an operator, if he can catch the timing here, this could work out nicely. And he's going on an incredibly long wraparound. I almost feel like this is an expectation of Zeddy that they're going to try and go back in the other direction. But this could work out so well for him, because there is no way that Aslan is expecting this man to be coming in from behind.
Spike planted.
No, that would be utterly unreasonable.
One enemy
So
remaining.
you see, Zeddy gets it for free, and here we go. Now just Looker to deal with. He has no idea where this player can be, though, spraying away. He'll make some noise as he goes on through. That jump is heard, but he's going to go back. Looker caught out by that swing. Brainy play from Zeddy, and a 5th round rewarded on the back of it. That was gorgeous.
Yeah, that was huge brain. 200 IQ plays. That someone's going to put that in some sort of playlist. Like, wrapping in behind them, faking out the smoke to smoke off that angle so that obviously the player on the other side thinks, okay, he's already walking his way into sight. And then even faking out the jump at the end just to try and bait Lucker into wrapping around. Like, that was ingenious. It literally couldn't have played that clutch better if he tried. And, well, a round again that definitely shouldn't have gone in the direction of this side, but Zeddy has clutched it out for them.
The fact that he fakes the jump down as well, it just works so damn well. There's practically nothing you can do about that, because you're 100% certain this guy's gone down. Had a read of it from step number 1. SSK in with a big kill to Aslan, and as they try to deal with him, in come the rest of the team. In fact, SSK still gets the kill.
He's the only guy who would play with an op from up there. Oh, I love it. It's so aggressive. Twisted tries to do something of the same, like just taking the peek back, and has been forced all the way out, leaving a 5 versus 3 retake. A very good position for Navi.
Oh, there was a chance there. Still the second player coming around. Twistin might not be expected. There's no one else here. That's the problem, though. They're going to clear the site, and they've got more than enough bodies to just keep an eye on every angle. Boom. Okay. Well, okay. They're going to kill him now. Well,
It's not bad damage. Like, I'll be honest, I was expecting him to get maximum 1 or 2, but the 3 kills, pretty decent in an impossible scenario. Even still, though, like, Navi over the last few, again, mid control just seems to be a massive issue for Big, which is normally something that teams just surrender. Like, it's like, okay, we get to play with mid control, and then they'll work the extremities. Navi don't play like that. Like, they are taking they're almost disrespecting Big with the amount of control they're taking into mid. But even at the same time, like, if Big end up with like 5 rounds, I'm still not that worried for them, because Navi have still had struggles on their attacking side of basically every map. Now, they've definitely had moments on this one, like their performance versus BBL was pretty strong. FPX, if you go back to last season, they got 8 rounds on this map, so they can do it. It's just their attack versus mech was just rough, but they were also getting multi-fragged every round.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't help. That's for sure. I think up against mech, though, in general, that's going to be a problem for most teams. If Navi are able to keep this momentum rolling, get SSK's op to really show up in some of these duels, I think we can be looking at a very, very solid half. Big certainly haven't got an easy time ahead of them. The one thing I'll look at again, though, Musashi, he's got this ultimate to play with, and no Hunter's Fury on the other side. Cloud's got to be really careful with how he uses these shock darts, because it might be necessary. Either that or, well, I would say Dunno, but he's on the other side of the map, so...
Dash removed. Not going to be any available for an escape for SSK, but of course he's still going to be... yeah, come on. He's still going to fight it. It would be silly not to. And now he's actually going to pop the dash instead. Musashi's got taken a lot of space, not expected. And actually, it almost seems like Zeddy wasn't ready for that either, which is peculiar, especially considering his teammate just died. Luckily, they've still got Cloud within the site, and Lucker completely isolated here. He could be in big trouble.
Oh, that smoke going down.
I don't know. He's in.
Aslan, he's trying to make a little bit of noise now in main.
Last player
Be
standing.
spotted coming out, and hopefully they try to seize the space. There it is. Looker opened up a gap, and he's going to sneak through to spawn. The Guardian in his hands and a 1v2. No information
Out of charges.
on Dings J. He knows exactly where Cloud is, though. He'll sneak his way all the way through. Is he wrapping back into market, trying to get behind these
30
players?
seconds left.
Plenty of time here to play it how he wants, but Navi are patient. They're sat down in main now, starting to explore other angles, other options. Looker's crossing over. He's threaded the needle. He's got the sight, but they'll look to play back into it. Shock darts, a turret, a Hunter's Fury. Actually, they might just use this Hunter's Fury to try stop him planting.
Yeah.
8 seconds. Oh, that didn't catch him.
I don't even think they're going to need it. Already. Know roughly where he's going to be, and Cloud is just going to decapitate him, not using a Hunter's Fury for that one. I imagine they're just going to go back and make sure that they retrieve the operator. It's been a huge part of this defense, how much SSK has been able to get done. It definitely was a little bit wary, though, the amount of space that Big were able to garner. Like, Musashi walking through and getting 2 kills from that position was really surprising. Like, Zeddy definitely didn't seem like he'd been communicated the information properly, and, well, also the fact that they'd actually managed to get that far into the site in the first place. Problem is, Big don't capitalize, and again, 5 of the last 6 rounds have gone in the direction of NAVI. I wouldn't be surprised to see an 8-4 here.
Again, certainly possible to have that very strong half come out. I was saying Big haven't had an easy time. One thing I'll look at, though, Looker and Musashi now can combo. Very little that you can do about that, and with Sova playing A site, this is fantastic if that's what they decide to do. Already you're going to have that null command going through. Up and above, Twiston's good for SSK. Great pick. Cloud being annoyed, being tagged up as they dashed on through. The paranoia didn't hit, but it has no effect. Twiston, W key all the way. Good tags, and he's about to run around the world right up through middle. By the looks of it, he's decided against it, though.
Oh, Aslan finding another definitely makes this problematic. The ult spam not giving Na'Vi much of an opportunity. Cloud will at least be able to take down Lucka, but
You should
honestly,
run.
I don't think it's the player that you really need to find. Now the lockdown is going to make things even more difficult for them to try and find a way back through. Duno left onto 1, and of course he's killed off by a shotgun. Big will at least recover back to 5 rounds, but ultimately it's not bad for Na'Vi.
Yeah, I think for what they came in up against, there was definitely a chance for it to be a lot worse. Really good control, but ultimately that entry from Twiston, it just staggers everybody backwards. It was a fantastic play. Now they get to test out the defensive side. A map already secured, and this is their map pick. This is the side that they want to be playing on. Tom, with 7 on the board, though, it does feel like Navi have done a pretty good job. If we can see them pick up the pistol here, it could be a real problem for Big.
Yeah, well, it's always the case, even if you win both pistols in any series, that realistically you should be taking it over the line, unless, of course, you're G2 versus Oglu, in which case maybe not.
You know, OG London United.
Yeah, Oglu.
But he means
Oglu,
Down mid.
no. Love me some Oglu.
Luog, my boys.
Log.
Well, that's a quick double from Cloud.
Log.
Log. The logs. We've had the double in from Cloud,
Oh.
so Navi have the lead, but
okay.
he's going to be taken down on mid. Big punish.
Okay. All right, Duno. We've seen some lucky shots this round, that's for sure. A turnaround, and maybe now Twiston is going to just pull off a miracle. 3 players to find. Tapping the spike. I don't know if anybody's actually watching for this flank. It seems like now SSK has at least switched his direction. And well, there you go. Both pistols there for Na'Vi.
Now, you lose both pistols, you don't lose the map. We know that. For Navi with an 8-5 lead, they're certainly in the prime position. For Big, I don't think we're getting any investment out of them here. The one thing that I will be very worried about is Twiston with a shorty in his hand. We've already seen that weapon do so damn much. But he sold it up. Now Musashi's going. It's the dash, though. It's the dash play with the shorty that scares me the most. Oh, wow. We're going straight in and with a classic. Hey, he would have won that if he dashed with a shorty. That's all I'm saying.
That almost looked like when like an NPC goes to battle. They just run straight at you, just shooting. Like they don't like. It just seemed very, very weird, but almost manages to get something done. Musashi, all right. The jumping shorty attempt, and now Aslan praying for miracles. Obnox has a slightly smarter idea of how he's going to play this one, but I don't think they're planting in a spot that he can shot dart without just sort of guessing. And actually, Aslan is going to take one down.
Plenty more players to drop, but the difficulty is going to be in containing them here. These players should be able to just run out through spawn. Have them fall for control of heaven. They know there's a player short, so there's one clear safe route out of here, and that's being secured by SSK as we speak. So you got to try to catch them on the way out, and that's a difficult task. Obnox is just going to concede. And I think Aslan will also look to go down to the spike.
Nothing worth keeping through into the next round when the rifles will come out for big, but this needs to be the comeback, really. And well, you've already seen that Na'Vi have an extra little bit into this round. Guardian alongside the Phantom still in, and maybe Dinks can put a little bit more. Just going to be the pistol. But ultimately, this isn't going to be an easy round for them. And in fact, it looks like we're actually going to see a pause called through for Na'Vi. So maybe really looking to try and go for the conversion on this bonus round.
It's not a bad idea. With what they have, with the ability to invest, with the rifle for Cloud, I can get behind this. Now, for Big, this pause is also going to apply a little bit of pressure, right? You know that you're coming up against something a little bit different, a little bit more funky. And I wonder if Big are going to decide on some early aggression, or what I think a lot of teams will do, which is just coming out of this in a bonus defensive side. Take your ranged fights, obviously. Like, you're going to want to be holding your ranged angles that you can, fighting around mid especially, but that's something Navi will probably just smoke off and force closer range duels. Outside of that, you gotta just pump the brakes. You gotta just wait. See what Navi have planned for you.
Oh, we will be getting back into the round. It looks like defensively it's going to be a more aggressive take of A main, which actually is where the majority of players are currently building up for the side of Na'Vi, although they might also be going for a mid. But yeah, they're going to go early into mid, especially with the weaponry disadvantage. It's bold, but you're going to see that deep smoke. It looks like they almost want to challenge versus Twistem, which you almost say the opposite. You're like, yeah, they'll smoke it off because why would they want to take this fight? Well, Na'Vi do. They've managed to push him back just with SSK running up, and instead he's just taking shots.
Spike down mid.
Wow. Aslan in with another. With Dinksjay falling, Navi, well, this bonus round play has not worked out according to plan. Going to send Cloud out, Phantom in hand, moving in towards A main. That side of the map is wide open. These players are locking down short, and they're locking down mid, at least they're trying to. Good kill by SSK. And he's 12 HP though, Tom, so the weight of this round is on Cloud's shoulders.
The thing is, he's got a lot of space. Like, they're definitely checking between multiple points, but that does give him a window, and that worries me. Like, this whole setup almost has opportunities where Cloud can actually just sneak up behind them. Musashi, he's missed the timing here, but he will just about win the battle. And while you could see SSK was almost just waiting to see what his teammate could do. And SSK, he might actually just opt to save the gun. It's not going to make too much of a difference. Like, picking up that Vandal for the next round still has the extra credits that he'll be able to buy his full kit anyway. May even be able to drop a gun over if they really need it, but instead, it's a little bit of damage. 2 players dropped and a free gun.
And when you put it that way, it doesn't sound like too poor of a round, really. Would have liked that extra little bit of damage, right? Taking an extra big player down, every little helps, but hey, they're at least going to be reinvesting here and now. And 3 rounds between them. That lead still fairly secure for Navi as they come into their first full buy round of the half. And look, you're on the attack. I want to look at the setup right away. 3-2. Looks like they're going to be fighting mid. Looks like Spike's holding for B push. But it's an A skirmish. They want to fight on A right at the start, and so do Big.
Oh, the information's going to be there. Expecting someone to try and take that elevated battle, but with the turret not being activated, they actually know that they can take this space for free. So using their utility relatively well, it will be destroyed, and thus that can't really be fought anymore. On the other side of things, though, everybody's just being quite passive. They expecting maybe some aggression to come out on the other side. Cloud going to utilize his recon, which will give up Twistan's spot, somewhere that SSK have been playing for the majority, but he's actually used his smoke to just fake things out. Almost try and bait them into thinking he's left, which, well, now he'll have to, and it's not going to work.
Twisting down, big control lost, and so the defensive side's going to go pushing up. That's where they get aggressive on A. This one-way smoke allowing them to close up, but Aslan decides to fall back. This is a wise choice. He was about to swing wide into 3 players, and instead, they go back, and they look to hold short, but a decision is to be made here by Big. If they just stall in right where they are now, they're going to be in trouble, and they're hearing utility down on A long. That's going to prompt them to
30 seconds
move
left.
themselves over towards short. Aslan wants to make a play. He's ready for it. 2 flashes, and it's Looker that goes down. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he tried to pop flash a little ahead, and then the paranoia was going to come later. Instead, every member of Big begins to fall, and, well, Obnox, not really anything he can do here. It's just going to have to be a saved weapon. The problem now for Big is just financially, they're not going to be in the greatest of spots. Like, you had a few players that were able to keep their weapons through from the last round, so I assume if he saves, they'll still be able to buy, but the round after this, that's where the problems will truly begin. And, well, again, it's going to be interesting because NAVI are a team that really love to fight in for that mid control. It seems like Twistan's attempting to do it, but it did look, again, just very different to what we saw out of the likes of NAVI. Like, NAVI put 2-3 players quite regularly, and okay, maybe once or twice Zeddy just TP'd, or, for example, SSK did something very risky, but most of the time it was a huge focus on the round. But Big, it was much more, okay, Twistan, what can you do? And unless he has an operator, I really don't like that play.
And he ain't got an operator this round, Tom. He's got a slightly different weapon to work with. That is a Bucky.
It doesn't even, the worst thing is he doesn't even have Blade Storm, so there is no justification of him using this gun.
I'm sorry, where is he going? B Boathouse with a Bucky. B Boathouse.
You know what?
All
He's in the right
okay.
place. They're going to be
B
pushing.
Boathouse with a Bucky. Start around.
Here we
Start
go.
around. From barriers
Here
up
we
in this
go.
man.
It's going to work. I guarantee he's going to get at least 1 kill.
Yeah.
Unless he dies to all the utility first. Obnox is almost just the bait as well. It's like, okay,
this is
you
actually
try and get a
smart.
little bit done. And then in the background, if they try and pressure him, there's going to be a Bucky waiting and get rid of this. Oh, it's going to be careful not to go down instead. But now it's left all on to Mr. Bucky. And oh dear. Oh no, it's not gone well. 32 HP, dash activated. The only man defending this site. All rotations have been lost. It's left just on the Twisted. He gets 2. No way. Well, I told you you'd get 1. It was actually a double. So there you go, Mitch.
1 shot, 2 kills as well. The spread on that was something else. Well, NAVI, all of a sudden, they are actually in a bit of trouble. They dealt with this B-side hold so well.
Last player
The Bucky
standing.
was their downfall, but the Bucky might be the only weapon to find kills in this round somehow, or in this reality. Musashi alone looking to save this. And, you know, Tom, you predicted it.
Yeah.
Said both teams winning each other's map pick. That defensive side's free. Well, here we are. Oh God. And it looks like NAVI have certainly plugged up the holes that were there last map.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, I think one of the problems right now for Big is that map pool just isn't really there. Like, okay, they have, like, if you look at the record for the year on this map, it's pretty good. But a lot of that was going through, like, the qualifiers, like, beating some not particularly good teams. For example, they beat this team called Alliance twice, who just not particularly good.
Pretty insane team, actually.
And since then, when they came into the VCT, they played it once and they lost to NAVI. Now they've come in again, they've picked it. Okay, they've done work, they've changed their compositions. I will say I was a little bit disappointed not to see them run the fade, because I think it was something that actually not only looks incredible on this map, but looked pretty good for Lucca. So I was hoping maybe that change would be made. But if you pick into a Na'Vi stronghold, like this statistically is their best map, and one of the only, well, let's put it this way. They have lost this map twice this year, Mitch. Both times 13-5, both to a team named Masters 3 champions. So it's like, if that's the only time you're losing this map, you know what? I can forgive you. I can still have faith in your map pool, especially when you're destroying BBL and last season beating FPX. So you have to sort of sit there and think, okay, what was the mindset for Big? And right now, I'm not really sure. Like, I don't think we've seen enough to think, oh, okay, yeah, this was a good choice for them, because Na'Vi, okay, sure, they won both pistols. That definitely changes how a game looks, but I don't think they've been massively sweating, and they've played quite aggressively at that.
Yeah, I have to say, looking at that, just when you said about the Alliance game, it's funny because their IGL of Looker was on that Alliance team at the time, right? So there's a lot of changes have taken place with this big team, and I think, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What?
Why?
Were they waiting for him to do that?
It looks like they were, because I've never seen anyone stand there, and there were two of them, and he won the fight.
You should run.
That is strange.
Oh, we're gonna have the same standoff again. Using the lockdown in an attempt to force them out. Are they going to be able to destroy it with the fragment? Yes, they will. So there you go. Not going to be forced off the site at all. The majority's still left. Twiston is just looking to try and take this round into his own hands, and Lucca has managed to find him with the pistol as well. It's left onto the remaining two, and next to nobody bullets left. Oh, can we so when like, I know that a lot of these VODs, they get like put into playlists, put on YouTube. Highlights, for example. There's some cool highlight channels out there. Don't put that round in. I don't ever want to see it. Thank you.
4 rounds between them, Tom. That round could have been very costly. I didn't like it the first time. I definitely didn't like seeing it the second time.
Also, Dink's running out of ammo. I didn't enjoy that either.
Well, huge round out. Looker, 3 kills found. 11-7, 4 in between them. And NAVI, well, they're off to a flying start already, looking to take a fight inside of A main. And well, you've got this interesting setup by Looker early. He's just sat in spawn waiting for a reactive knife. Where?
He's literally, he's lining it up so that he can throw it to either side. So he's basically being fed information of where they are so that he can zero point them.
My ult's not ready.
It's interesting because you like.
Look, he's looking back.
He's gonna be able to do it and then play the early rotation and not get caught by any of these null commands or anything like that. Here's the knife going down. It's landed and it's caught them. It's caught a few of them, in fact, and now Asline's able to catch them on the side. 3 kills for this man. Didn't even get the 3K notification in the kill feed. Obviously with Duno going down and being resable, but DinksJ's got no chance of getting this guy back alive. Oh, he's knifed.
Of course
He's been knifed. Wow. 11-8, a convincing follow-up from Big as well. They're starting to get some wind in their sails.
Twiston is such a troll. I swear, he spends half this game just trying to, like, just troll us as much as humanly possible. Exactly.
He didn't even think about it either. You see how quickly he reacted to that? It was like the second he saw the dude, he's like, I'm going to knife you. Not even sure he knew he was looking away.
11-8. Well, we saw a sort of fake comeback in the last map from NAVI. I wonder if we're going to witness another one for Big, or if this is the real deal this time. Weaponry still going to be there. Shock Dart doing a little bit of damage and more so forcing back this aggressive A stance. It hasn't really had too much success other than just delaying. And we actually have one of the first operator standoffs throughout this series so far, with one being on either side.
God, you'd love an Odin here, wouldn't you? After that reveal. Shock Dart's down. No damage to follow up on the back of them. As Navi just sit down, pump the brakes, and play for some mid control, smoke down, and a little bit of presence out. Big aren't offering up any kills. They've been very content with this duo of Aslan and Looker on A main. It feels like a lot of the time these guys are content in completely giving up short control to fight for A main. And I feel like they do that a lot more frequently than other teams do. Oh my god, Twisted! Didn't even do it from behind the wall. This guy's crazy.
They'll never expect it. Drone denied. But they are still going to go for the split in towards the B site. Rotation away hasn't worked, but there's a reason. They've actually tried to throw in the lockdown. It's going to get rid of the Hunter's Fury, which may have been the plan all along. Just trying to allow a little bit of extra time. Spam through. It's actually going to be Obnox. They create a crossfire. Musashi's still here, and they haven't cleared the back of the site yet. This defense is looking strong, but still, the players fall. They have to get that spike back, and they're not going to be able to. Time has run out for Cloud, and it just comes down to trying to hold on to the weapon. Twiston, he's going for it, isn't he? Yeah, of course he is, and he'll find the kill.
2 rounds in it. Navi got to start to feel that they're taking an eco here, Tom, and that's even more of a problem for them. You're looking at 11 to 10, 1 buy round to defend before you potentially have to push into an OT. Big task on hand for this attacking side. Still, there's potential here, and they're even investing into a Guardian on DinxJ. A little bit of extra credits that could certainly make a difference. He's going to be playing solo this side of the map as well.
Oh, here we go. Running straight through. That's not going to stop him. Come on, you should know that by now. SSK already opener into the site. This leaves a solo defender, and the rotation's a little bit far away. The rest of the squad are going to be able to make it through, and they've also managed to catch out Twiston. SSK's run out though. Oh, and he's worried about the flash. Still, trades available, and the spike has made it in towards the site. This is such a weird battle between these two players. Jumping across, pistol in hand versus that rifle, and just about Aslan is going to be able to close it. This now gives them the advantage in this retake.
Looker knew exactly what they were going to do, but the timing was terrible. He stepped out wide, and Zeddy punishes TP into spawn. It was heard. Aslan knows what he's up against here. He's making some noise, hoping that flank play comes through, and he's going to be able to catch him off, but timing is again what it's going to come down to. 8 bullets left in the magazine as well. He's about to be shot in the back. Zeddy's caught him. There you go. 12 rounds on the board for Navi, and a thrifty round win. There was potential in this round. The rifle up on DinxJ and a Blade Storm for SSK, but they got so much value out of it.
And Zeddy again, still just fragging. 22 and 12, playing that Omen fantastically well. He's had a lot of high impact rounds for this squad, and now it comes down to it. 3 rounds, the difference. Almost looking exactly the same as the last map, with a drag back and eventually the team in the lead just closing it out. But there is still some life, at least in the purchase that's currently there for Big. Operator in the hands of Twiston and rifles everywhere else. Ultimate's probably not going to play the biggest of parts, but I am still looking at the fact that Dinx does have that lockdown, and it no, actually, it's the orb gone in the other direction. I was going to say, I feel like this has to be challenged for Obnox, just to make sure he has a counter.
They're going to use the paranoia for that. It's just rooting the spike out of the position. Huge piece of utility burned up already. And Big have all the control. Players in main, waiting. And it's Twiston watching on mid. The operator in hand. We just saw it a moment ago. One-way smoke outside A. They're pushing up on the back of it. Trying to see anyone that they can. Noise being made. B site. Lots of presence shown. But that peek on mid still hasn't come through. Navi are being so patient here. They're waiting for the push, and Twiston, he caught a double off of it. Zeddy and Dunno, that was a player back towards B main that must have just stepped out at the wrong time. What a punish.
Oh, actually, Aslan's detained. This kill is free. He's just got stuck at the back of the site. I don't know, did he try to fake the TP or something and it just didn't work? It seems very peculiar to just sit within the site. Either that or it was just a gamble. Nonetheless, it's given a small opportunity here with the 2 players remaining. Cloud wanting to get aggressive.
Oh, Twiston not going to land the shot this time. Cloud's a little too quick, but DinxJ goes down. Cloud all alone, already caught one. There's the second. He's repositioning as well, right back towards Boathouse. I love this. And following on Obnox, one more opponent left. He's about to take the fight and another headshot that confirms the round and the map for Navi. Cloud carrying them across the finish line. 13-9. Impressive stuff from Navi, and now they've earned themselves a shot at least that final map of Haven.
Oh, it's the classic, isn't it? Both teams losing their map choice, ending up on a third. If anything, I feel like we just have to see who's won the coin toss, or I guess who got to choose the sides of the map, because that might be enough to actually get things over the line. But still a close matchup, I think slightly closer than the last one, and hopefully, Mitch, that means we're going to have a wonderful decider.
Well, hopefully, and that decider is going to be coming up in just a moment. For now, though, time to toss it off to a commercial break.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
Red Bull gives you wings.
In a way, I'm not I'm making it there now. I'm taking it solo. I'm a kid on the get-go. I'm breaking the rules, I'm taking it all, I'm running my own show.
Who's next?
And welcome back, friends. Map 2 just ended, and as expected, we were talking about it on the desk, NAVI are able to bring it back to make it 1-1 against Big. Before we set up Map 3, let's recap what just happened between those two on Ascent. Goguka, please help me out.
Okay, I'll help you out. You know, on that first half, knowing that Big has chosen this map and that Navi is starting on the defense, I would say 7-5. It's a pretty good result. I like what Navi was doing on mid. Our casters were highlighting the pressure that they were putting onto mid, and we started to see, you know, glimpses of why they're so good on the map. But again, 7-5, I still wanted to see why Big decided to go for this map. But when it came to the defense, I don't know, the amount of mistakes individually that we've seen, not only individually, but also as a team within Big, the amount of clutches that Navi was able to win, all the rounds that Big started with an advantage that they weren't able to capitalize on.
It's actually kind of weird still for me, because as you said, I also don't know why Big chose Ascent. So if they will manage to win this match, that's the question that we'd like to hear in the interview. Why choose this map when you also picked exactly the same composition as your opponent? So I was expecting some counterplay, but there was nothing like that happening. And also I have the same criticism that I had before to Big. Lack of discipline. It was also very visible in the last round. But other than that, when it comes to 5v4s, they had 9 rounds with an advantage, converted only 5. And in general, there was some really nice plays as well from time to time. But the overcommitment or like overheating, taking 1v1 fights, being done by both teams, we're just deciding who takes a round, which is so weird because many first deaths were just happening on defense, and then suddenly Navi got what they wanted, right? They play the default. They just need 1 kill to gather and attack.
I mean, to be fair, there were some rounds where Navi actually surprised me of how determined they can be with the executes, you know, playing a little bit with the tempo. And surprisingly, for the same thing that Big was ready on Bind, they really were not prepared for Ascent. And it's not that we saw something insanely crazy, but I really like how Navi just stuck to the game and they wanted to finish it, especially on that last round. Like, how do you lose that 4v2?
Well, we go into detail. Tell us, Trader.
Oh, you want to tell me?
That round, yes. It's not only a 4v2 because it starts as a 5v3 with the Killjoy lockdown, and that was something that Mitch was wondering what the hell happened in the backside. So let's look at this round, okay? So this is where the lockdown is being put. It has 8.6 seconds right now on the recording. I'm gonna go forward a little bit. Look at the timer on the Killjoy ultimate right here. It's 300 milliseconds, 130 milliseconds, 0, right? This is the moment it's on the counter, it's 0 seconds, but the device is not exploding yet. You can see the wave starting to like build up. And that's how the Killjoy ultimate works. It's gonna explode after it goes to 0. So now we're gonna zoom in on the crucial piece of this side here. Look at the backside B where that small ping is. So here in this spot, Omen is gonna TP, but because he wasn't paying attention to the timer, he's gonna TP right into this wave that you can see explode right here. This is gonna reach the Omen once he TPs into the backside, this moment.
Yep.
See, this is where he gets just locked down because of the Killjoy ultimate. That's the first mistake. So we play out the clip. They will get that free kill for 0 effort. And not only that, that player had also a paranoia and the smokes. You could have single-handedly stopped the plan from happening, right? But that's not all. Now we have the actual 2v4. Unfortunately, Twiston, after a great initiation, just falls asleep for some reason and doesn't shoot Cloud. And then we have the actual problem, the 3v1, when all the players from Big go for 1v1 isolated fights instead of just going together and getting the punish and insta trade. And that is just one big problem for Big, how to fix those fundamental issues. And also, as a bonus clip, please never crouch against a weapon like a Sheriff or a Guardian, because you're gonna get headshotted instantly as a static target. So, yeah.
Good lessons to learn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, it is Cloud. We said that he was the most reliant on the team, and especially in rounds like this one, he proves us why.
Well, another player that was really showing up in this game is Zeddy. So we have him as highlight. Please guide us through it, Kakuka.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about him at the beginning of the day. We need him to show up to actually tell us all how he belongs to the team. And he also had a 1v3 that he won. He had some 4Ks, 3Ks. He was performing not only on the frag department, he actually created a lot of pressure with the smokes. I think that he was very like cold-blooded in that sense.
He had that one clutch in a 1v2 on B side where he faked
All the way
jump down, and the big player just literally didn't think that the player can still stand up on the upside of the lane. But the thing is, when someone jumps down on that side, he will also make a different sound because he will
Hear the
land
mud.
in the mud,
Yeah, in the mud.
or on the wooden box.
Yeah.
So it's different than the cobblestone on the lane. So some small mechanical outplays and mistakes are just like accumulated here on this map.
Map 3, though, is on the way. And we predicted it from the beginning. This is what everybody was talking about. It's Haven. So what is there to expect? First of all, the big question was why Ascent? But now Haven to go
still don't
decider.
know.
We still don't know. There are always more questions to answer.
So I have some bad news for Big, and is that Navi is going to start on the defense.
Aye.
And it's not only bad news, I'm sure that they already know that, but the last time that Big played this map, it was against Guild, and it was last week. It was the map that never should have been, because it should have been a 2-0 for them. The problem is that when you go against Guild, there's very little that you're going to be able to do, and actually Big got 0 rounds on their attack. Now, if you get Navi another chance to take a stand in on the defense and just make the map their own, it's going to be very complicated, and we're going to have yet another time where Big got really close but didn't manage to close a match.
And also when it comes to the map selection, agent selection, they don't know what Navi will go for because
Exactly.
Navi didn't play on this patch yet, right? This is an advantage towards Navi. We know that the last composition from Big was Breach, Fade, Omen, Raze, and Chamber. So there's some potentials, like Fade and Raze are perfect synergy, but on Bind, they didn't even use it once. The Seize Painful combo was not used at all. The Fade Sky combo was something that I thought was overcomplicated. But let's see what's gonna be the agent select right here.
Is Obnox going to be on that chamber? Do we want Musashi back? Definitely, they cannot have 2 Jets, so that's okay.
Breach,
So he's going to stay on the Breach. I think that those combos with the Fade, as you were mentioning, have to be there. Twiston is going to go on the Jet. Obnox, so they're deciding to not go for the chamber.
And no for the Raze.
Oh, and Dino going on that Fade. I like it in Neon. Okay.
On the clock.
Okay, Liquid, I hear you.
Okay. Navi
Cloud-
with
Cloud
Neon,
pays
I
on
expect
pressure.
now that they become the fastest team on the planet. I don't know if this will happen, but that will be my prediction, quote unquote. You know, this is a joke if someone doesn't understand it. But it's.
I thought they were missing a Yoru also.
It's surprising because I'm really looking forward to see what Cloud does with that Neon on the defense, how they're going to set up.
Fast rotations,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Fast rotations, or are they actually going to be extra aggressive, maybe creating a little bit of fakes? But there's a lot of utility with a lot of different meanings on both sides. So I think it's going to be, a really good third match.
Well, a third map, and we've got Neon on the board. Let's see how it all comes down on this one. Toss it back to our casters, Mitch and Tom. Enjoy.
I have to say, Tom, I really wasn't expecting coming into this one that I'd be seeing Navi coming through on the Neon. It's always a little bit of a surprise to me seeing the slowest team in the game playing the fastest agent.
Maybe they're trying to break the trend a little bit. I feel like Cloud is almost the exception within this team, though. It's like he's fairly aggressive on the attacking side. But I am interested to see how it's going to work because ultimately, like a lot of the time on this map, you're going to see like double initiators run. Okay, they have sort of done it, but I mean more so like you're going to throw in a Sky Sova, you're going to throw in like a KO in the mix as well, just to try and get you that information. So I'm intrigued to see how aggressively they're actually going to play on this defensive side to almost make up for the fact that that isn't necessarily there.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of advantages that can be brought to the table, but by and large, when we see it, from pretty much every team internationally, it's going to be aggressive play, right? It's going to be faster. Neon being picked up into a comp typically speeds up the rate at which you're going to be taking sites, how early you're going to be planting, and those sort of things. So I feel like it's somewhere that Navi could come in defensive side and, like the desk are saying, play those rotational gameplay.
Oh my God.
But, well, that certainly ain't how the pistol's kicking off.
Cloud almost just disrespecting his opponent straight up. on this defensive side. Oh, an opportunity!
Spike
It
down
seems
mid.
like a little bit whiffy in this round coming out of the side of Big. And damn, a flawless pistol round. Na'Vi, well, they've answered a few questions very quickly indeed.
Yeah, they didn't even make it out of spawn. Big literally could not make it past the line drawn by the window on the map. They were stuck. And getting pressured heavily like this is not something you expect coming up against Navi. But as I said, once you see that neon pick in, you start to get a little suspicious that these guys aren't going to be quite as slow and steady as they normally are. That said, they weren't as slow, but they certainly were as steady. 1-0. Pistol picked up, clean as can be. We're going to see this defensive side with Cloud playing a Marshall. Not the typical weapon for a Neon player.
No. And actually, I don't think... I don't think we've actually seen that haunt come through properly. I think it was meant to stay up above, in fact, the angle that he was checking, but it's not actually cleared any of the position. It didn't matter anyway. An instant smoke down and a shot connected. Now they've had to try and reposition. Now, there is only the cross being held by Duno. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see how the fade versus fade is actually going to work out. And Zeddy might have to be a little careful here because it's looked like he's going to get pressured by the Prowler.
Yep, there's the Prowler down. Zeddy being pushed on right after. Dingsjay can't really help, at least not with his bullets, but his flash is good. It pushes them right back out, and Obnox trying to pressure up on B, gets shut down. SSK still in good position. TPs after one shot, and it's the information. Sure, he doesn't do damage, but he's drawing the rotation already out of Dunno, who's coming around. He's up top ready to take that kill. Take a second, and then the rotation of Dunno pays off for that final kill. Very nicely handled by Navi again, and well, there's very little to criticize there. I think they did everything right.
No one's
Easy
died.
enough on this map, but yeah, we'll see how these rounds progress, though, coming into this. This is where a big change should happen.
I am assuming that Musashi expected him to have rendezvoused out of the entire site, because otherwise that does look a little bit mental, just bunny hopping through.
I think normally when you see a player that deep down in sewers, that TP is going to be outside B, and the other one's going to be like garage C to allow faster rotations. But again, when you're running a Neon, faster rotations isn't necessarily something you need to worry about with your chamber.
Look at where Cloud is already. The man has already pushed all the way through short, gone back through, cleared long. This is so much information already. They've cleared half of the map.
And he's already rotating back over, right? At least he can. And this utility coming over is going to keep him bound in position a little bit more. And that it's important to destroy that. Obviously, he could have hid behind the smoke, but the key thing is not to give them the information that the other positions are clear. Just make that a little bit more costly in terms of running down the clock. But now coming into the Spectre fight, Cloud's got to go huge. Good chance, though. Good opportunity. Laying off the contact to Zeddy, waiting for a tag to come through, and he takes down Aslan right out of there as well. Rotating around. Now, nobody can heal up on this team, so he's going to be left on 30, unfortunately, for the rest of the fight. But Tom getting a free kill in a round like this and getting out alive? Yeah, I'll take that.
It's also going to make things a little bit more skeptical. He's also dropped over that SMG, so they're going to be right back into the same position once again. Zeddy just waiting. They've got the read wrong, though. They expected Big to almost rotate off of this and just think to go in another direction after losing that much control. Instead, they actually just slow down. They wait patiently, and okay, Cloud's just been ruined.
Really nice stuff. Yeah, I like this approach from Big. They sit down and realize that they can let their opponents play themselves. They don't need to make a move. The lack of any noise or information is going to drive them forward or into rotations and then forward. Either way, huge success. And with a plant down and a 4v3 up against what they're up against, it's unlikely that they lose the round. But, Tom, you know, I don't think Navi's objective is to win anymore. It's just to make this costly. Yeah. It's just to drop some weapons. There's a chance here. Oh, never mind.
It's another round that we see quite regularly. Like, it starts very strong for the team that has the bonus, and then it's the rifles that end up closing it out. But this is where things actually start to get a bit more interesting. You're going to have Cloud close to his overdrive, but probably not going to be utilizing it in this round. Doesn't really have the most value in the world, but they do have themselves rifles across the board. And more importantly, with how much SSK was able to save, he's straight onto an operator. And I can imagine on this map, he's going to be a devastating force.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out, or maybe we won't have to wait. Looks like SSK is about to get a chance right now. Aslan going out to peek this angle.
Found my trap.
So is SSK. He's waiting on the edge. Aslan had crept out here, and I thought he was going to push, but it seems he's waiting for his opponent to do just the same. He can fall back. They've got an alarm bot there for a little bit later on. Keep the control, allow Obnox to lurk a little bit.
Where are you?
The fight's being avoided, and I think that's the key thing across the board here for Navi is they're avoiding fights on Garage, on C long, on B, because they want this fight to go down on A. But now Big have spotted it and they're slowing it down yet again.
The only worry is just the amount of control that's able to be taken. Like deep C and deep A control, it sort of sections them into what would have to be a B hit unless they're going to try and late take this back, which they will. Cloud already spotting it, can get those early rotations. As I said, it was what I was wondering about with having an initiator or having, say, a Sova missing, more so, is how they were actually going to opt to play this. It is just hyper-aggression. It's hyper-information play.
There we go, the stun through, but they have no idea about SSK, so the kill finally comes in. He's able to reset to the site, looking for more. That shot's not going to land, though. The numbers of Big stay strong, and with SSK down and Dunno following, this is now looking very scary. If they can get this plant through, they might just have it secured. 8 seconds left. The plant now coming through, and Zeddy and Cloud have to take down the remaining players, but Cloud's got a good angle. He crept around the Rolling Thunder, knocks them out of position. Zeddy trying to stay alive, trying to run about and keep himself hidden on the back of the site. He's going to reveal both of these players, take them down. The spray is good for Looker. Musashi gonna sneak his way out and catch Zeddy in the act of teleporting. It's a close round indeed, but Big just about get away with it.
There were so many really awkward fights taken in this round. A nice attempt from Cloud peeking back in, Zeddy as well, but it's this fight here from Musashi. Like I think it was Dinks trying to actually go for a flash, just caught completely with utility in hand, and that was one of the difference makers, because I think, I'm not certain, but that might have been the kill that actually gives him the Rolling Thunder, and well, you could see how screwed Cloud was at the end.
One enemy remaining.
Good attempt by Zeddy. I think if he had a TP'd from a little bit further back, he still would have died. He would have successfully TP'd, but he would have just gotten swung on. That was actually quite a costly Prowler. A lot of bullets to the headhunter went into that.
Bear in mind as well, Dinks has never played Breach before. So it wasn't the highlight because obviously of how interesting this composition actually is, but he is someone who has almost purely been on Sentinels. Other than a Viper, which I feel like almost fits that role, he has played Raze 4 times, he's played Sage once, and he's played Chamber once, which is still within the Sentinel. Other than that, he's played no other agent. So it's actually a pretty big change for him in terms of role.
Stampede coming in towards the C site. Stun in play. It hasn't actually caught Zeddy on the back of the site, but he's only playing with the Sheriff. Does well to find the first, but now all of the utility comes raining in. That doesn't stop him, though. In fact, nobody falls on Navi's side. This is a flawless round, and 3 kills for Zeddy. It looked like he was about to be overwhelmed. I don't know how he's gotten away with even nearly as much as he did.
It's one of those players where you know exactly where he is, but just the smoke going down actually gives enough space for him to just find something through it. They don't lose a single player, Mitch. And a lot of that was down to his sort of solo hold. He ends up with 3 kills in the round. It was mentioned on the desk, like, okay, he needs to perform today. He has been, especially in the last map and this one. Already been fantastic. And I'm pretty certain they picked up all 5 guns as well. So they've just been given a free buy.
Ooh. Well, that was an awkward engagement for SSK. He TP'd out at least, making his way safely back towards the A site, and he's creeping back out with a rifle into the corner. But Bing are not looking to hit A. They saw him, okay. They did spot him. Maybe it was a mini-map or something like that. Either way, this was all time delay to allow for this push through to the C site. Dunno, he's going to have a chance here if he can catch them with the haunt and... Oh, there's no follow-up from it. Cloud's here.
I feel like there should be a rule that Cloud's not allowed to have this ability, because it's just like, you just see him just go, there's almost like he's sliding into your DMs just to ruin your day, like, just straight across the screen. And a couple of free kills for him. I genuinely feel like, even though if you look at, I think it's Cloud Picture, he looks very serious. I just imagine every time he slides, he has a smile on his face.
Oh, he has to. Well, maybe not right away, but after he kills 3 people, I think that smile's sort of being forced upon him. It's been unbelievable. Look at his speed. He's just having such a good time moving around this map, and it's exactly why we were theorizing this could be such a strong pick for NAVI, changing up the way that they play in some instances, but also reinforcing the slower style when they want to go for those heavier rotational plays. This is a heavily aggressive play. Cloud rushing all the way up, still in the doorway as well. I mean, risking a spam in return. Trading a few bullets. Twistin almost went down, Tom. He's left on 20 HP.
Face your fear!
A lot of this is going to come in on SSK. He's just waiting to try and catch one before he escapes, and that's all he really needed to do. Adds so much value, and actually Twistin's taken a lot of damage on the other side as well, so they will get themselves the site, but they basically used an ult for absolutely nothing.
That's definitely going to hurt them thinking back, but if they secure the round, it doesn't matter all too much. Down goes Musashi. That's a big catch on the way back. Twistin being so low on HP, we need someone to step it up. Aslan and Looker on the side itself, while Twistin tries to thread the needle. He's got some good timing. They can hold on to this, and Aslan's really distracting them here. That kill got them cyber focused on taking the site, so Twistin does manage to get behind them, and nothing but kills for Big. They're flawlessly walking away with this one. The last 2 trying to get this spike defused, but again, Twistin coming from behind. Just too much to handle. The 3rd round found for Big, and remarkable impact by this Jet, who was almost the first to fall.
Yeah, no, a 3 versus 5 scenario. It looked dead to rights, managing to find the rotation as well, and then just a late flank coming through. But I think it's also just the way they were playing off each other. If there was ever going to be like a risk or a trade, it was just instant from Big. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Na'Vi have got to be kicking themselves, because they pretty much had a chance to put their economy, or their opponent's economy, in the dirt once again. And instead, well, they're going to have a comfortable bye here.
Gotta go!
Aggression out of Cloud. You can see Big are not happy with giving this control away. They want to fight them forward and punish them somehow, but Twistin, he doesn't quite get in there on time. Fast lane used to get right out of that awkward situation Cloud was in. Oh, Cloud with another. He's swinging out wide. He's going for more.
Spike down A.
It's just no stopping this guy. The confidence that he's got with this agent to take these duels. And it seems like Big are never ready. I mean, how could they be for what he's bringing to the table?
Nice shot from Musashi, but it's short-lived. And yeah, this is the thing. I think he took like 1 bullet in that entire round while basically dancing with death. Like, he was aggressive at the beginning, had to switch back up. His stun actually saves his teammate's life to go for that initial peek back in. Then he has Dinks backing him up for the rest of the round because of that. And yeah, he's 11-4. And the thing is, he's 11-4 running at them every round. That's absurd. It's one of the things we talk about when it comes to attack sides is if your entry fragger is popping off, you're going to win the game. Well, right now, he's entry fragging on the defensive side. And by the looks of it, Na'Vi are going to win the game.
Certainly if it keeps going the way it is. But that's why this timeout comes into play. They want to take the moment to breathe on this one, think about how they want to play it out. Couple of credits here to spare. And we can see those invested into something like a Marshall, for example. Grab 2 of those, try to make it work. But with a Rolling Thunder, a Blade Storm, maybe this is a full buy. Work around it with what you can. Let Musashi try to give you that Rolling Thunder to make the weaker weapons work, or to get Twisted into a site. There's a lot of potential in this round. I think the timeout gives Big a good opportunity to figure out exactly what this investment can look like and how to maximize their potential here. A lot of thrifty so far, but on a map like Haven Attack, it's a little bit more difficult with the range you come into most of those opening duels with.
I think as well, it would just be finding a place to actually use that Rolling Thunder, because it's like they've tried it a couple of times to just almost get them into the site. Like, we've seen the same with Nightfall as well, but it's not really garnered much because it's normally a solo hold. Like, we saw it initially with SSK, just, okay, I'm just going to get a kill and TP out. And that's what he's been doing in the majority of rounds. Now, this is the first time we haven't seen a hyper-aggressive take in towards this A site from the defense. So it's giving a lot of space over and making me think they're almost just going to use their own Rolling Thunder for the retake.
And they are really taking the freeze approach on this one. They'll push on mid or double doors. And obviously they're in danger of a C long flank, but they're watching for it. Prowlers down mid. You can see NAVI are getting a little impatient, but that push is coming through. On the side that they're sort of gambling on, right? They've got that Rolling Thunder here for a reason. They're playing retake for a reason, and that reveal was fantastic. There's the Rolling Thunder. Spike not going to be planted, and they're just... I'm glad he got taken out for that, though. He deserved it.
He got a kill after he was dead as well, which is always wonderful.
Wow.
So the thing is, it's like, it looks ridiculous, but it is just so good because every other player on the team can run in knowing that no one's looking at them. Because there's no way. Like, you're checking the guy who's just blitzed straight into the site at full speed, not the people who are just sauntering in afterwards. But they also just had a wonderful haunt in that round. And that's the thing. I have no problem with NAVI giving up the site if they have a plan. And it was evident they had a plan. Haunt comes through. Cloud is literally on the edge of the windowsill just to make sure that he can basically find a kill off the back of the haunt that was coming through. It was just intelligent play from NAVI.
That's what we like to see, and it's why these rounds are starting to really rack up in their favor. You know, we're getting a flash in the pan from Big every now and then where they pick up a round. We're not seeing that consistency just yet. NAVI certainly looking convincing with this composition and the early fragging ability, dueling ability from SSK there and from Cloud most rounds. Being off the charts, SSK's already behind them, although there is an alarm bot down that they'll have to bypass.
You should run.
Already. Going to see the lockdown into play. It's just going to be a trade. But the thing is, they're going to destroy it already. It's not going to do much whatsoever. This kill could be everything, though. Lucky he's not going to win it. Said he was low on HP. A chance for them to get back into the round. Instead, now Musashi has to try and do everything. They're going to run past his utility. Nice shot onto the first. Stun through, but they're peeking him together. Zeddy again. High impact frags whenever they need it. A triple to give a 7th round now for NAVI. And I'm going to be honest, Mitch, I'm starting to get worried because these last few rounds have looked very good for NAVI.
Yes, they have. It's convincing. And at this point, when a team starts to really put up those rounds in this convincing manner, it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, well, if you're not finding that space on your attack side and NAVI are able to apply this much pressure to you, early short fight, push up through double doors, flank is on a few seconds later. I mean, Big are getting no space to breathe. And that's worrying to me when I look at this comp and then think, well, NAVI on the attack, you know, Cloud's going to be possibly even more of a threat with the support of utility. They are right in here for the B side. Big with a very different approach to this one. The pace picked up, and it seems to be paying off for now, although they've lost Obnox on the flank and a trade out for Aslan.
Normally in trades and these sort of rounds isn't too bad, but they're in desperate need of an extra round victory here. Think's already spotting one. Doesn't know the player is close, but they just can't deal with Cloud. He's just causing them so much troubles in the backlines. And well, what can Lucker even do here? They're just going to defuse. He's just going to have to try and either take someone with him or just hold on to the gun. And in fact, he'll get nothing. Cloud now, another triple. I feel like we've said that so many times in this game, Mitch.
Yeah, well, the man is 16-6, so we will have had to have said it a couple of times.
Mathematically, it's quite likely.
Yeah. He has been delivering. And it seems like there's just no off round for him thus far. Though Zeddy, 12-3, is arguably more impressive for the agent that he's on. Some of the positions he's been in, back C site. I have so much respect for players that make it work from there. And 3 kills with a Sheriff that round when they were trying to root him out. That was fantastic. Really, I've been impressed wholly by what I'm seeing from the NAVI side. But this time, there is a response from Big. Early round advantage going to the attackers. And, well, there's no stopping Twisten's made it out of there. TP through by
what are you
Zeddy. That's going to
doing?
cost him his life.
What was that attempt? I think he tried to go up above, expecting them to be blind, and instead just made an utter fool of himself. Flank attempting to come through. Duno needs this kill. Aslan's sprinting. Of course, somehow there's going to be a kill with that judge. And now Cloud. He managed to close out the last with a 1v4. He's just got the first.
Yeah, way too much to ask of the man. Big walk away with 4. Look, it's a bare minimum coming out of that first half. A chance, maybe, if they can pick up a pistol, but things are certainly looking bleak over on that German side. And I think coming into this half, they're going to really want to come out swinging if they're going to have any chance. I mean, some of those factors that we've seen before, Tom, haven't really been paying off here. I mean, I think especially a much tougher time over on Looker's camp in that first half on the fade, something that I was very excited to see coming out here. But I think the playstyle shift of NAVI is just gaining them so much of a benefit over what we'd seen from them before.
Well, yeah, it's hard to know, firstly, when to use the utility, but you see all of the instant pops of, like, the horn are just being pre-fired. Like, it seems that NAVI have done their research of where people are actually going to be putting down this utility. And already, you can see an attempt to go for some of the orbs early on. Twiston just trying to hold on to that control, but it does seem like pressure is going to be put onto Garage instead.
It definitely does. Oh, that's a nice shot. That was a headshot through the wall. 6 HP left on Cloud already. And hopefully that's a big player nerf. We'll see. Aslan and Musashi falling. This is not looking good. Opnox makes a damn good attempt. Cloud trading out. And Looker, he knows there's someone close, but that flash is a little bit too clean. Twiston alone, 1 versus 2, spotted up as well. And he wants to aggress with the dash. Oh, he's got him! Blinded up, still good for the kill. The dash online, and he doesn't need it. Gorgeous play by Twiston. And a much-needed round now secured for Big.
I don't know. I don't understand why Dinks did that. I'll be honest. Like, they literally, it was like a video where someone shows you how to play and then how not to. Like, it's like, okay, I'm going to flash, my teammate's going to peek off the back of it because you get nice little timing off that. And then 2 seconds there he goes, and now I'm going to peek off my own flash. And it's like, yeah, he's just waiting for you now, bud. He was able to avoid that quite easily because he just wouldn't have had the time to dodge that flash if it was his teammate peeking. Leaves it down to a 1 versus 1. It's just unnecessary. Maybe a little bit wary that there was going to be a peek, but even the flash would have probably scared away Twiston from doing anything like that. So a real lifeline, I guess you could say, owned by Twiston, but somewhat thrown away on the other side.
Well, Cloud's already going to go down, so another big opening duel for the defensive side. Prowler's getting that information. Really is one of the best info gathering tools out there. You're gonna see Big.
It's basically the sky flash if it wasn't a flash and just aim locked if it saw someone. I just
It's like a controllable seeker.
Yeah.
Essentially. It's absolutely crazy. Is it literally if it goes past you, it sees you. It just has to like have line of sight in front of it, obviously.
Oh, seems like there's a fairly good opportunity of actually getting a plant here. The problem is all the counter utility coming through. I don't think Duno's going to survive much longer. And although they've earned a few extra credits, this is looking pretty clean. Zeddy will at least take 1, of course, but game on now. 8-6, and this will be where NAVI comes in with the bye.
Yeah, where things really get dangerous, I suppose. With 8-6 on the board, a round win here would just be fantastic for NAVI. They need it, but it's all about how clean it is. Really, for Big, you know, you got to think about the map that's in it. You're not going to be going C long. Spectre's in play. Garage is a little bit of danger. That's why you're seeing Big not really...
I'm out of here.
Or sorry, NAVI not really going towards that side. It looks like a long blitz. I like the smoke on short. Another position you really don't want to mess with on a round like this. You know, a lot of teams are going to be set up for it, but they've got a breach stun, a player close, and a player peeking further back.
Straight away, Card has taken so much space. Now they've managed to keep control of short, which could make things a little bit more interesting. Twiston is going to spot out Zeddy, caught in his TP once again. But even still, it's only going to be the trade. I don't know if they necessarily clear Lucka, but it's that flank, that last player coming through. Still leaving it into a 3 versus 3. Spike yet to go down, but now they at least have control.
Yeah, at least getting a foothold on the region. That's what they need. Now we've got an anchor down, allowing for this teleport to take place. Don't have any traps, but, well, we don't have any enemies really on Navi's side. Dino quickly finishes off those 2 players running through, and the round is theirs right after. 9-6. Decently done. It's certainly a rocky start to it, but once that plant went down, there was no worries to be seen. This is where they'll big get their buy up, and an operator I've already seen in their hands.
Yeah, they need to break back very soon as well. Like a chance to kind of make this a little bit more awkward for Navi financially, and with already having a Blade Storm available, and a lockdown as well, if they wanted to try and play retake on one of the sites, it could get into a pretty good position for them to equalize things. Instead, though, again, there's just going to be a fast-paced taken towards this A site. Lucka is alone, and he's going to get hit by the Nightfall. He's just going to have to fall out of there completely, and well, it does look like they're going to use that lockdown for the retake. Although I say that, Obnox is not really in the best spot for that, unless they're going to try and reclaim short and lock down behind them, but that would be pretty bold.
It would be an audacious play, that's for sure. Big kill for SSK! Oh, that's gorgeous! With Twiston down as well. Huge security over their flank. And Big have lost the majority of their aggressive stance on this. Any sort of foothold they had, any ability to catch Navi off guard. Instead, they would have a very two-dimensional push, and through spawn, through heaven, it's just not the way they want to play this one. And so saving is the only call to be made. That's another successful round for Navi. As they push up to double digits, Big have got to be getting worried. I mean, with these weapons saved, if they don't manage to win the next round, and, you know, or save the weapons, I suppose. Don't think they can keep relying on that strat. But yeah, we're starting to really run out of time run out of runway for Big to come back into this. Now or never.
Yeah, I'm also just I want to know what the plan was there, because the initial take, okay, you had Lucka just playing for information, he falls back, and I'm like, okay, you're probably going to have some sort of retake using the lockdown, but then the lockdown's on the flank. So again, either you basically have to kill everyone off short and just have to lock down the players on site, which it's bold to think you'll be able to do that with just 2 players. And then if not, it just means it wasn't even something they considered utilizing at all, which, okay, yeah, there's a breach on the other side that could, in theory, destroy it, but I don't know. I feel like it's a valuable ult that just wasn't really considered by Big.
Yeah, certainly some stuff to be improved on, like we're saying, but... Oh, here we go. Right away, Obnox getting pressured. Lots of pressure indeed. He's down to low HP in the corner, and he'll be taken down by a spam. Good control. Twiston using up the dash already. Big forced out of the site. Navi have managed to leverage themselves in here with the plant out in the open. Big with nothing to get back in here in terms of ultimates. They have got plenty of utility for Looker, some for Musashi, but they have to rely on...
Here.
I mean, someone wedging this side open for them, because there is just no space being given by Navi.
Oh, they're going to have to just try and blitz it by the looks of things. Clock already to half, and they are going to get the initial trades, but there's just more personnel on the other side. Twiston, the only man standing, and wow, they just ran into the blender. Navi get themselves up to 11, and honestly, like, this is probably the most enjoyable attack side I've ever watched from Navi. It is fast-paced, 5-man pushes, aggressively taking control, utility used to section off different players. It is like they have a different little setup in every single round, and in comparison to how we normally see them play, like very slow, like working the picks, this has been wonderful. Like, maybe it's just because I don't have to waffle for the first minute and a half of the round, but it is very fun to watch this team play.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know what you mean, Tom. I can see that.
What was that? It's
Much more enjoyable.
Less than 20 seconds, he's already in the site and got himself the first kill. Oh, it would be bad if you're a Lucka fan, though.
Oh, Twistin has not had a nice time there. Like we said, this is do or die for NAVI. If we're being honest, it's very much the same boat for Big.
Yeah.
The games that they have left are, you know, what is it, Mech and BBL, and BBL are really on form right now. You know, the only reason I say that they have to beat BBL is because that is, unless we think Mech are going to do really bad, that is the team, the only team that could go out last instead if they lost on head-to-head with Big.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't believe that's going to be happening. Cloud, he just did that with no ammo left. Free delivery coming in from Cloud. He's handing them a rifle to maybe keep into the next one. Obnox is trying his best with a Marshall in the retake. He's been spammed down to 1 HP. Zeddy will get the job done. And while Musashi, I'll be honest, making things costly here is irrelevant. The only thing he can do is get an ultimate orb or two, because the cash on the other side is booming. You've already got yourself a tour de force available as well. I guess it was for all orbs. Like, he can buy anyway.
One enemy remaining.
So here it is. What could be the end of the road in a way for Big. As I said, this is the team that they're competing with for bottom spot right now. Neither one wanting it. Competing to avoid it. And the only other team that can possibly take that away from Big if they lose this one is BBL. It'll be a game to close out the season. The Big don't want to push it that far. Zeddy in their spawn. It looked like he was going to get something.
Well, Duno's managed to force them back off the angle, at least get the information. Now they're going to instead, I was going to say walk through the KJ, but the KJ's already dead. It's going to be left to Aslan to at least section them off with an operator. Duno's still in the corner, shouldn't get anything here. And while now it's left to Dinks.
Definitely feels like this is going to be the extension for Big. A little extra round for them. Dinks unable to get away with one of the crazier plays we would have seen. And so 12-7 we go. Another round for Big, but 5 more needed. Defensive side on such a big map, they're going to be retaking a lot, it feels like. And that makes me very worried.
Yeah,
very worried.
I think the problem as well is the fact that they're going to have to retake mainly because of just the way Navi are playing. It's not like they're throwing out a wide net and just trying to catch players as they push. They're just running somewhere as a 5. Like, look at where they are on the map right now. It's just all 5 players in the same sort of position. Okay, maybe you're going to see a trap go down somewhere for SSK or look for a bit more of an opening kill, but they will eventually just group up into these aggressive takes, and it's what's been so enjoyable from this squad so far. Again, double operator in hand as well, so retaking is even less likely. The one thing that will save them, though, is I can only imagine how nasty a Nightfall Rolling Thunder can be, because you're basically, well, you're basically just immobilized at that point.
I'll find you.
Okay, there's great information for up close. They know the garage is clear. Musashi's holding a Rolling Thunder for garage. This is interesting. I mean, if you get hit by this in there, you are dead. 3 players right outside of it. One is Obnox, ready to pounce as soon as the Rolling Thunder comes through. And look at this, Navi are actually moving into this position. It's going to be the most unexpected strategy on their side. They're in, they're making noise. Here it comes, Rolling Thunder in play. Obnox wanted to get through. The stun hit though. Looker's gone down. No one's gotten anything, and that Rolling Thunder ends up with NAVI coming ahead. They've got a kill for it. They've got another now. Site secured. Damage being done as Obnox falls, and Aslan can't hit the shot. Oh, what a disaster. Twisting the last man alive, and they're even watching for him.
Spike planted.
Oh, not anymore.
Okay, at least the first one goes for free. Bladestorm nowhere near, so it has to be done with the operator. Maybe a shorty in the back pocket might be able to help him out, but Getting past these angles is not going to be easy. Dash activated to try and give him the chance to get past, but he needs a little bit of luck, especially with the positions, and it's not going to happen. Na'Vi, their best map shown on Haven, as they will seemingly get themselves into a spot of survival. It will not be Big getting the first win they've ever had in the VCT onto the board today, and unfortunately, Mitch, it's looking unlikely they ever will.
Yeah, ever will. I mean, that's maybe a little bit much, Tom. God, give him a few years at least. But no, I think right now, yeah, it's definitely looking a little bit shaky over on the Big side. Chances of them making it all the way now significantly decreased.
Probably impossible.
Like I said, they need BBL to lose all of their games, and they need to beat BBL, from what I understand, and that's a pretty big ask, especially with the form BBL are on, and well, the form the Big are on. Let's talk a little bit about this match, though, in further detail, Tom. Of course, we got to let the people at home know about the player of the match, because the analyst desk will be coming up in a bit, and they're going to announce the winner, but you have to decide who that is. Head on over to @ValEsports_EMEA on Twitter. Not you, Tom, the people at home. You got 3 players, Cloud, Zeddy, and SSK. But Tom, being as you're so eager to get involved in this vote, yeah, who are you telling the people at home to vote for?
See, I think it's between Cloud and Zeddy, and I'm gonna give it to Zeddy just because of the role he's been playing. I think in terms of sheer impact rounds, he was fantastic, and although Cloud technically won them the last map and also managed to do fantastically well on Haven as well, I still have to give it to Zeddy. I think he was superb.
Yeah, absolutely. He really was. But we'll see if the people at home agree with you at @ValEsports_EMEA on Twitter and get your vote in, because as I said, the winner will be announced during the analyst desk, which is coming up after this.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
Time slows down when it can get no worse. I can feel it running out on me. I don't want these to be my last words. All forgotten, 'cause that's all they'll be. Now there's only one thing I can do. Fight until the end like I promised to. Wishing there was something left to lose. This could be the day.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
Welcome back, friends. Navi victorious against their opponents at Big, and this means we get to actually have a chat with them. And the interview joining us is Dings. Stratsvicha, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you. Hope you're doing well as well.
Well, thank you for joining us. First of all, I want to ask you a few questions about the map bans. Were you surprised when you saw Big picking Ascent to play against you?
Actually, we weren't surprised, because they always had the third map Ascent, but I don't know, we wasn't surprised, so that's all.
Well,
we expect to play Ascent versus them, so.
Fair enough. Well, can you walk me through the first half of Bind? Because it looked like you had some issues that it took a while to figure out.
Yeah, actually we couldn't find our game on attack side, so we had really late calls. That's why we lost attack side. That's all I think.
And I think the biggest thing is usually when we talk Navi, we talk slow team that really takes time to ramp up. But when we went to Ascent, you got faster and faster. And by the time we got to Haven, you pull out the Neon, something that everybody was talking about. So what was the game plan there?
The game plan was just to play our own game. That's all.
What's your own game? Because your own game is usually slow and methodical and really taking your time at the last 20 seconds.
Not at all. I don't think so. Like, for each map we have our game style. So, like, it depends on agent pool. That's all I think.
And you think we'll see more of that Neon for Navi rocking it, going super fast on the map?
I think yes.
Definitely excited to see more of it Well. Dinks, thank you very much. Congratulations on your
Thank you.
victory against Big. You make it up against them. Until then, relax, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. We're back on the desk to chat about this because seeing the Neon was already mind-boggling. Seeing it in action from round 1, that was incredible.
Wait, I think that Lothar needs to say.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Top notch. EMEA, we got the best desk, don't you worry about it. Honestly, that was beautiful to see.
I mean, in general, it was very exciting to see that the change from the behavior, the patterns that we have always seen from NAVI were broken for Haven. And I'm actually kind of surprised by what Dinks was saying, that they have they have very different play styles for different maps, because it seems like on all maps apart from this one, they have a very set protocol of how they behave on attack by playing very patiently and they make their due diligence before going into a site. While on Haven here, because of that Neon, I actually was joking around during the agent select that maybe they will become the fastest team on the planet. They didn't become the fastest team on the planet, but when you compare it to the normal typical playstyle that they represent, this was lightning fast. They were just cracking open the rounds in the first 10-15 seconds, and they had really cool set plays with the Neon stance. But that's something that is has to be used with the Neon to make her efficient.
Yeah, completely. And we saw that from round 1. We saw that pistol round with that little micro just running in. Cloud, staring the map as he wanted to, and there was no rest for the poor Big that actually tried to manage at least to get on some attack, and they were breaking the entrance again and again. They didn't want to play for the post-ban, and they were not scared to take the duels. Very interesting things that we saw here from NAVI. And now that we have seen them on Haven, not only what they're capable of, but also the performances from, for example, SSK, that I think was doing a beautiful job on the chamber, just anchoring one of the sides. Really looking forward to seeing against, for example, Guild, because I'm sure that they were watching. We saw what they did against Liquid. They actually picked the maps that they played so we can see them against them. So it's something that I'm looking forward in the future.
Yeah,
in detail.
In detail? Oh, you mean Telestrator?
If you would like.
Let's go.
Over Telestrator.
I wanted just also to say that Big had 10 first deaths, by the way, on 2 players, on Obnox and on Aslan together. Both had 5. But anyway, let's go into the Neon plays, because that's something very interesting. It's gonna break down the play, how NAVI is attacking double doors. This is just a very simple but effective push. Here you can see that the stun goes through this small gap on the top of this small gap on top of the doorway here. This is something that we have seen Sova players use for the recon arrow, but now when it just opens up the entire double doors, and when you combine this with the Prowler, who just goes with a zigzag type of movement like this, checking every single corner like a snake, it's very effective to take this space. And after that, when the player is being affected by the Prowler, and we have seen huge effectiveness with this Prowler, the player is exactly in one spot when the opponents like him to be in. So Obnox is literally trapped. He's being affected in the first place by the Prowler, right, and the stun that are happening in the double doors, and then when he's trying to escape and goes into the safe corner, he's being assaulted again by the second stun, and Zeddy just goes in and gets the free kill, because that's just how much info is being gathered. And in the pistol round, we have seen another example of how to use the Neon. It's a very also simple and effective way when you combine the Paranoia, the Breach stun, and the Neon stun, and it's super simple but super effective, and it seems like the default setup from Big here was just being dismantled by that. We had many rounds like this being used by NAVI, and that's something that I feel like caught Big off guard completely. They didn't expect NAVI to just change up their playstyle so much.
And after watching that third map, I think the expectation is, who's player of the match? Well, it's the person that played the Neon. It's Cloud. He's the player of the match. Gakuka.
I mean, it's completely deserved. We've been highlighting Cloud for the eternity now, so I really like that the fact that now that they get the win, he gets the player of the match. I think that he has been consistent not only today but on previous weeks, so I think it's 100% deserved.
Yeah, and there was also one round that I didn't have the time to break it down, but Cloud also rescued the one setup when Big was waiting for the Breach ult on the Killjoy turret contact in the double doors. One Neon stun rescued the entire setup, and they essentially just close out the game.